this another fun-filled episode of the Cleveland Moto Podcast. Light them up, boys. And they're off. Your humble narrator, Phil Waters, drinking a Christmas ale from Great Lakes Brewing Company.
Yep.
I believe.
Same.
And Oscar.
Christmas ale.
Yep. Sleepy.
I have a Brooklyn Brewery.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah.
And Mr. KROMKE.
Noble Beast. Nano. I mean, not Noble Beast.
Not Noble
Market
Beast.
Garden. Sorry, Andy.
And to his left.
Johnny Mac. I have a Christmas ale, a Mai Tai, a Coquito, and a Dortmunder. Yeah.
Okay.
Doing good down here.
And to his left.
Chris Smith with a lovely drink.
A Mai Tai, baby. Yeah, we're making Cleveland Moto Mai Tais today because Renee got us some Cleveland Moto cocktail stirrers.
Very classy.
They're very classy. Yeah, they're very
Pretty
blingy.
cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Can I make an announcement real quick?
Oh, please go ahead.
So if you're listening to this podcast, that means that you probably listened to last week's podcast.
Probably.
And the fact that you're here, you're our people.
Hey, wow, man. I listened to that today. So while I was dropping it, I listened to it.
Diane came home just as it got to that part.
Did she give you her consent?
Just on
I
principle,
don't know
she
that
didn't.
She actually heard it. I thought the best part was that Phil talked for an hour and 40 minutes about what he said he wasn't
We're
going
going
to
to talk about.
Have you not listened to our podcast before?
That was the first podcast I edited in headphones.
Right.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
You kind of had to.
Our podcast is famous for telling you the things we're going to talk about and then not talking about them.
True.
Or telling you what we're not going to talk about and talking about it.
Right.
And if
True.
you expect a straight pitch down the middle with Cleveland Moto, you are going to be sorely fucking
But we
let
have
down.
schedules. No,
we don't.
No, we don't.
We don't.
We
not
have
what we do.
lists.
We have plenty of lists.
Let me show you our show notes. There are no show notes.
And we don't have any.
There are no show notes. But as it does happen, I did want to celebrate. One thing is that we've appeared on IMDb.
Yes.
Because, of course, the whole being on the People's Court thing. So that was funny. I thought that was hilarious. Oscar was here today, and I was like, oh, so now we're on IMDb. We can tune up our IMDb because you got to be in it to do anything about it.
Yep.
So that was something. We have Meckelfresh. When is your snowmobile trip?
That's going to be like February, like the second to last week of February.
Yeah.
21st, 22nd, 23rd, and then I'm off that whole week, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Nice.
That's going to be Tug Hill, New York.
Okay.
The Tug Hill Plateau is what they call it. They get about 200 to 300 inches of snow there a year. So, but not look. I mean, I did look at some cams, and there is a little bit of snow on the ground right now, but hoping that there's more by the time I go.
Do they offer any kind of compensation?
Well, I booked one of the 3 rooms that are at the Flat Rock Inn, which is like a tavern, and has a little bit of bar food and stuff, and apparently a lot of golden retrievers, like 5 of them living there. So I'm a little bit worried about that. But they also rent snowmobiles there, and it's right on the trail. So, and I didn't have to give a credit card, just my name to book the room.
Oh, yeah.
And then the snow machine was $100. But I think if you actually can't ride at all, like if the trails are closed, you get that back too.
Oh, all right.
Get the fuck out of here.
So the 1 day rental is like $300, but they have a $100 non-refundable.
Yeah.
If they try to make you rent it on a 50-degree rainy day, just go, okay, we're taking them out.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I can ride this bitch in the mud, no problem.
I think they'll be handing you the
that.
keys to a Polaris ATV and saying, sorry, the weather. But I was looking at the webcams today for Holiday Valley because we've had this unseasonably warm weather here after our what the fuck happened.
Yeah, Arctic blast.
Lakewood High is going up there, the ski team, this weekend. So,
Yeah. Well, no, it's like 75% of the runs are open.
Okay.
So 8 out of 10 of the lifts are open. There's some spots where it's muddy. There's some shitty spots, but for teenagers, it's great.
But for people that didn't know how bad that cold was a couple weeks ago, my kids that they live in Kenston. My older kids.
Yeah.
The middle school, they go to Kenston High School, and the middle school out there,
Right.
the pipes froze and exploded.
Yeah.
That's not the problem. The problem was that the building was old, and so they had encased the asbestos around the pipes.
No.
So when the pipes exploded, the asbestos went.
Yeah, it got rid of the asbestos mitigation.
Yeah, so basically, I think they're gonna have to tear down the whole school.
They're gonna have to gut it out.
Yeah.
That's they can get away with encasing the asbestos, but once that breaks open,
So is that called an asbestos day?
Yeah.
It's one of the newest Jewish holidays.
Happy Asbestos
Day. Happy Asbestos Day. But I was looking at that Flat Rock Inn that you're going to.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hookup, man. That is crazy. $120 a night.
Yeah.
Oh wait, dude, they have ATV rentals. So if it's
crazy,
not
man.
snow, you just take a quad.
Yeah. And they also have a
shit.
big lake there that in the summertime they run snow machines on the water. So they have like they have a competition.
I've seen those. Those look fun as fuck.
That sounds
So
good.
you take your snow machine
I've seen
and
those, yeah.
get rid of the gas tank, get rid of the
Yeah.
seat, strip it down, and then
Yeah.
just have this little gas tank that holds
Yeah.
about a half a gallon,
And
so
they-
you don't. And then you put a little buoy and
You don't
thing-
populate the lake with the gas if it goes in.
So
right?
if you sink,
Yeah.
it goes down, and you can hook it and drag it out, and you don't.
Oh, that's fucking cool, man. Oh, I love that. This place looks really interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks like very much a
as far
mom
as
and
I
pop
know, there might
business.
be another room and stuff, and
Yeah.
our room has 2 queen size beds in it, so it's me and Kevin. But if anybody
Oh,
really
I thought you were taking Peg.
no,
Nor Piper?
no.
Neither of them?
No, I want to have. Oh well,
That's the second half of the show. Just wait for the other part.
no. I mean, I definitely would take my wife, but she just can't. It just doesn't
Work,
you know,
yeah, that work stuff. Yeah.
And you know what? Let me do it first with Kevin, and then we get it figured out, and then we'll see maybe next time.
Have fun and then
Yeah,
What's that
it looks super
saying?
cool.
Will blow for room or something?
Oh, man.
No, you don't have to blow. I mean, if anybody wanted to come, I mean,
show up.
you can either sleep with me in the bed or sleep on the
That's
floor.
right. Or sleep with Kevin in the bed. Exactly.
Or go find one of the dogs. And
It does appear that they have got their shit dialed in, though.
it's also a big campground too,
Yeah.
so they think they do a lot of ATV in the summer and stuff like that. And
It looks fucking cool, man. It looks really badass.
I think I'm going to try to take my sled with me too. Just I'm going to rent theirs for the one day.
Oh, you are going to take your sled?
Yeah, I just don't want to be like, oh man, I kind of wish I had my sled.
Okay.
Well, I can have my sled. I just
And
bring
you
it with me.
proved that it can run in like a 1/4 millimeter of snow.
Oh yeah, it's fine as long as there's some snow.
solid.
Well, because I might go. We have a friend who's about 40 minutes north of there who has a property up in there, so I might do that, or I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
It looks properly
Or I might
fucking
spend another
rustic.
$120 and go out the next day on my sled.
Right. There you go. Yeah, I think that's cool.
Okay, so then they also say like this place is like, Upper Peninsula. It's like every hour or so you can go. They say up here it's like where we are. It's every 30 minutes, and the further north it's like every 10 minutes. There's some place you can pull over and get a drink
really?
and whatever. Like it's it's ridiculous how many places
on
you
the
can.
trails there.
Yeah, you
That's
can just
cool. Yeah.
More like Wisconsin.
if you're cold, there's a place you can just pull. Every 10 30 minutes to 10 15 minutes you can pull over and get some.
That's cool.
What's the definition of the shortest distance between 2 bars?
Wide open throttle.
Snowmobile trail.
Snowmobile trail. Right on. Completely agree. The
I watched some videos. Some of the videos were like what I would expect and what I would want to ride, and then some of them they look like you're looking at the Isle of Man.
Oh, really?
On snowmobiles,
Yeah.
like these dudes are like, and they're just like 100 mile an hour. Trees blasting. I'm like, I think where we are is if we say don't go north. The guy said if you go up north, that's where it's crazy and people are flying.
right.
If you stay down where we are or you go south, it's not so.
What, you got those localized cloud formations over there?
Microclimates.
Something's going on over there.
So it looks like it's 400 miles away from us.
6.5 hours,
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So that's very
How
cool.
close is it to Speculator?
It's right up there.
What's
Yeah.
the dates again? I'm just gonna put them on.
So it's across the seaway from Kingston, Ontario.
Yeah.
So for people that are familiar with with those kind of things, there's the St. Lawrence River divides the United States from Canada, and this is at the mouth of the St. Lawrence. So yeah,
My buddy's place is up there for directly north and towards the water from
Okay.
where that is, somewhere up in there.
it looks fucking cool, man. Really does look neat. I'm thinking that's a great idea.
Anybody's interested, like I said, as far as I know, maybe we could get another room. The snow machines are plentiful. It's $300 for a day. You can get a 2-up is I think the same price as a 1-up.
Yeah.
2013 and newer snowmobiles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
They have what the upright riding position. You know, mine's the old
touring sled.
You know, the down low one. Now they're more like a crotch rocket.
You show up with your sled, with your Daytona.
Mine's a Ski-Doo Formula Plus.
Yeah, so you show up with that sled. People are going to be coming out. And there's going to be two classifications. Yeah. What the fuck is this prick thinking? And then there's going to be other ones that are like,
I used to
badass,
have one of those.
that's cool.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, if you don't take a jean jacket,
denim,
everybody's
dude.
like, send it, dude.
Fuck yeah.
Full Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah.
Hand magnet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my sled would be fine. It's probably more the suspension than the motor. I mean, the motor will do.
Dude, that
it's
thing,
100 mile an hour sled all day
that thing
long,
is
but
fucking ridiculous.
It's perfect.
That thing in
What year's yours?
1990.
Yeah.
In a 1/4 millimeter of snow, John came over. I'm like, really? You're going to ride it? He's like, dude, it ain't
That was
gonna hurt
actually
anything.
best because it got good hookup. You know, like
He was
You're
like,
not
go ahead,
spinning the
Go ahead
track.
and take it. And you whaled the throttle. The treads, you had no treads. They were 3 feet in the air. You were just like hanging on to this thing. Like, it's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. Pretty solid.
That's pretty badass. I mean, that's super cool. Yeah.
But the guy said, he's like, you know, people who bring their own sleds, either they're brand new, you know, $25,000 sled, or they're like you, they've got older sleds.
Well,
and they
sure.
bring them up.
Why not? It's a great place to ride. You know, nothing wrong with that. It is funny when you do look at pictures of John's sled and you realize what a time machine that fucking thing
Fuck
is.
yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's the way sleds looked when I was a young kid, where it was like, oh, these aren't just for getting, you know, out to the hockey shack or whatever. These are meant to be fast.
Well, you know,
red one, right?
and I think, I swear to God, if you start looking at like the brand new 23s and stuff, somebody was like, if you took a jet ski and put some skis on it, it would cut through the snow better. Because like the new Yamahas and shit look like a jet ski with skis. It's really weird looking.
Yeah, it's a very funny thing because it is so. Your sled is so funny because it looks like it's trying to hug the snow, right? Everything about your sled looks like it's.
I mean, I think back then they wanted low and lean so you could get, you know, low wind resistance and you know, they're thinking blasting across a wide open field.
Yep.
And, you know, we're out across the lake and you just, you know.
Yeah, I don't think they were thinking.
You almost want to just lay out on it, you know what I mean? Like,
I agree. Yeah.
I guarantee you, when they designed this, nobody had jumped 100 feet. You know what I mean? Like,
but even as low as it is, it does have suspension front and rear.
Yeah.
And like the rear suspension's kind of boingy.
yeah.
But the front, I don't know how much it actually moves. There are like shocks underneath the hood. It's like a weird cantilever.
It is a
setup.
weird cantilever shock absorber on that thing. Yeah.
How big is the motor on it?
So that's the Rotax 521cc. That's the 536.
Okay.
No, the 537, I think is what that is.
It's
so
big
it puts
enough-
out 88 horsepower.
Yeah, it's big enough that if it was any bigger, I wouldn't ride it. I mean, it's
Oh, it's peppy as fuck. You know, I rode
And
it.
that's
dude.
a twin. That's not a triple. That's a 521cc two-stroke twin.
Stroke twin. Yeah.
Fuck
So
yeah.
much fun.
The older motor,
a lot of
the previous model, like that's a 1990. The older ones, 85 to 89 or whatever, they were the 536 motor, which had 40 millimeter carbs, which was actually like they were pushing almost 100 horsepower.
Yeah, and they were getting
mine's a little
8
bit-
miles per gallon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you just pull over and put gas in it, ride it, pull over and put gas in it.
I mean,
Yeah.
we rode it around there. I think we used probably 2 gallons of gas in that time we were riding out there. You know.
Ah, so cool.
and you had everybody. I mean, the kid, your daughter, you, me. Like, we put some laps.
So much fun.
And we put the I have a sled for behind it now too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did get a sled?
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
That worked well, actually.
It would work well if it wasn't on a rope. It's
Yeah.
swinging wide and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
Problem is,
Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm going to kill somebody and wrap them into a tree. You can't do
But
that.
it's fun, dude.
where every time you ride it, you have to do the math just for you, but also 40 feet of rope.
Oh yeah.
Right. And that's the problem.
That's okay out on the water
Yeah,
in your toter
exactly.
tube, and there's nothing sticking up out of the water.
But God, there's trees, man.
Well, we did it with the little dish thingy when first got it out.
And
That-
believe me,
that was a lot of fucking fun.
I had to
dude.
take a lot of care to make sure I
They
wasn't
didn't
swinging
slap
you
the
into a
shit,
tree.
yeah, but it was
That's the last thing I want to
Pull
do.
a Sonny Bono out
I don't
there.
care about killing Cinch, but I don't want to kill Oscar.
He's serious about that because, like, every time I'm on the back, he's just cranking the throttle.
And there's a Cleveland Moto Moto Stories on it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So anyway, Ken Block be damned. Johnny's going
Going for the
snowmobiling.
homies.
That's it.
Hell yeah.
That's right. So there you have it. In other news, anybody buy anything stupid this week? All right.
I kicked my older daughter out of the house so I could take her room.
wait a second. So you'd kind of mentioned that.
Yeah.
So you had a visit from your middle daughter.
Yeah, who doesn't come over very often.
No.
She's 18 and she's doing her thing.
Yeah.
And so she visited her room twice in 12 months.
Okay.
And so I had 37 guitars, a whole recording studio, a fucking video editing suite in our living room. And my wife was sick of looking at it. So I said, hey, you know what? I'm stealing your room. And she said, oh. So now I have a man dome.
So that's good that you have an office, right?
You needed it.
You know, that's good for up to 25% on your taxes, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Just so you
definitely
know
that
that.
important.
Yeah, you got
and
it.
finally, I can close the door, which means things that start with P
Yeah, right.
are going to come back into my life.
Yeah. Drum roll, please.
The only stupid thing I bought was socks, heated socks for the trip.
Well, there you go. Definitely got to have that.
Baller move.
They look good. You brought them in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your sled has heated grips,
Oh yeah.
which is
And there's a lead, and there's a lead in a lot of them. Like you have a heated
Yeah.
visor. I was
Yeah.
looking at buying the heated visor for my helmet, but it's like $100.
yeah.
And I talked with a guy
You
who's
could probably rent a helmet there.
yeah.
Yeah, the double layer one is only 50, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could probably rent one when you
I think I'll be fine just the way he's like. If you have anything that keeps your breath off of your visor, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll put some mask on or something.
Schneisel or something. Yeah.
Or if they have one big enough, I'll just rent it because all the sleds, even my sled, has a lead to plug in a heated helmet.
Yeah, there was a kid selling one of those.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up.
I think somebody's Camaro for the.
I'm glad you
think
brought
I
that
sent
up.
a link.
So did anybody else buy anything else dumb this week?
No, but if
Sleepy?
Did you buy
Guitars.
the one that I sent
Sleepy?
the link of a month ago?
Sleepy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You did?
I did.
Oh, fuck. I was all hot on that. Thing's awesome.
Well, you weren't hot enough.
No, I know. I understand that.
What?
That's been my problem
Apparently,
my
I was a
whole
little
life.
hotter than you were.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. So apparently, I was a little hotter than you were.
Damn,
So,
that's awesome.
A 1999, year of our Lord, 1999, Isuzu Via-Cross. What the fuck is an Isuzu Via-Cross, you might ask?
But more importantly, you got the mother load of all Via Crosses.
I did. So
Isn't there like an Olympic version or something?
this
like
is
that?
the Olympic version. So this is the official Ironman version
Iron Man.
of the Isuzu Via-Cross. And the Isuzu Via-Cross was what happened in that period of time in the 90s. You will have heard me say that the high water mark for automotive evolution was the 1989 Tokyo Motor Show.
Oh, yeah.
So the 1989 Tokyo Car Show was the official high water mark because Nissan had the Escargot. Nissan had the Figaro.
Right.
Toyota had a pickup truck that had a lifting system in the back of it, a 4Runner, that deposited a Yamaha jet ski into the water out of the back of the 4Runner.
Nice.
It was the truly cocaine-fueled power year.
That was the late 80s.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Toyota MR2, like all these crazy fucking vehicles that were just half out of their fucking brain.
Pulsar. Change the back of your car. Yeah.
Right. The modular car.
Yeah.
Right. The
Cocaine's
Nissan
a hell of a
Pulsar.
drug.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, man.
If you need to take 50 keys, you get the station wagon back. Man.
Yes, exactly. Right. On the weekend, it can deliver cocaine, and then you can put the Sporty back on like a Subaru Brat. That's exactly what was going on. Man.
Handles like it's on rails.
Thank you, Johnny McElfresh. Bringing the fire again. So when I was a young fella, there was a car called the Isuzu Amigo
Yeah, Amigos are cool.
that I was like, oh my God, man. The first time I saw an Isuzu Amigo, I was just raging 15-year-old boner.
Plus, how many cars have two languages going on?
Also true.
Right?
Thank you.
True.
Yep.
True.
Absolutely true.
And the Honda Rodeo.
Rodeo. Right. But the Isuzu Amigo was the first one that was like, it's a two-door, hardtop, 4x4 that you can have some friends in the back of, and it's full size.
Get them all muddy.
And
you stay nice, they get muddy.
So the Amigo
Did it
had-
have those seats in the back?
It did have seats in the back. Yeah. And so the Amigo, and this is why we bring it up, the Amigo VX concept car. Nice. Okay. From back there in that beautiful, magical period of time, the 1989 Toyota Car Show, Tokyo Motor Show, The Isuzu Amigo was called the VX, and the VX stood for Via-Cross, because it was designed to be a car that was also an off-road vehicle.
It was SUV before
Before
they knew
the-
It was an
it.
SUV
Before
before
SUVs,
somebody
yeah.
coined the term SUV. And so I'd seen these, and when I was, the young fella growing up, and, Miami Vice was on TV and whatnot, this thing was pretty much like, this was the coolest. But you got to remember pink and teal.
Yep.
Those were primary colors.
Wiggly stripes. You
Wiggly
had to have all
stripes,
those.
Yep.
right? The
Solo
the
cup.
Solo Jazz Cup, right? Exactly. And
Dual windshield.
I was at the car show, and when I was at the car show, they had the teal one. You've seen it. They had the teal one, and they had the salmon colored one, parked right next to each other. And Isuzu's advertisement campaign in 1989 was, "We've created a monster," right? And it's just a silly thing, but it's just a little 4x4, right? But then, because that got identified pretty quick as a car for hairstylists, it didn't get a lot of pull in the off-road community. It didn't get a lot of respect in the 4x4 community, and the fact that it was available in teal and or salmon or coral,
Didn't help.
pink. And I wanted a pink one. I thought a pink one was a great
That's good
fucking
looking.
idea.
Yeah.
I loved the idea of having a coral-colored Isuzu Amigo.
I'm a Barbie Phil.
Yes.
In a Barbie world.
Bring it on, man. I could not hazard any. Yeah, I fucking loved it. I love that car so much. But the mutant stepchild of the thing came out a few years later.
Yeah.
And that was when Isuzu had apparently done all the cocaine and said, we're going to roll this bitch out. But we're going to replace the little tiny 4-cylinder motor with a 3.5 liter V6 out of the Honda Acura.
V6.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were like, man, every American complains that all the bottom of their trucks rust out. Their fender
Exactly.
rust. What should we do? Make it plastic.
Make
the
it
shit
out
out of
of
it.
plastic. And so they
Fucking
they brought back the original name, which was the VX, the Via-Cross. So they brought the Via-Cross name back out, and they remarketed it as the Via-Cross. Now, in 1997, 8, 9, this thing had a major problem in 1999. Is a Jeep Wrangler with all the trimmings was in $1999, $20,000.
Okay.
The Isuzu Via-Cross, not even the Iron Man edition, was over $30,000.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're going to sell 0 of these. Yeah, so we're not going to sell any of these. And so they didn't sell any because it was too fucking expensive. And if you tried to get into the back seat, you couldn't. So it had a back seat, you couldn't get into it.
Why, the seats didn't come forward?
The seats did come forward, but they didn't come forward enough.
Oh.
So if you put the front seat all the way forward and you tilted the back all the way forward, you and you and you and you,
Couldn't get in the back.
maybe him, could get into it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. I tried. And so it was kind of a flop, and it didn't do particularly well. So in a Hail Mary move in 1999, they'd partnered with that fine seller of watches, Iron Man, which Iron Man, as we all know, was hijacked by the Timex Corporation, and they made Iron Man everything. You could buy Iron Man anything. Iron Man was a clothing company, whatever. They were just a marketing, branding extravaganza. And so they made something in the neighborhood of several hundred
Yeah, not many.
of these Iron Man editions. What made them different? Nothing.
Just a big ass sticker.
They happened to have a big sticker on the hood that
hood.
said Iron Man, and a sticker on the what I guess is the B pillar that said Iron Man.
It looks kind of cool.
But
I like
inside they had actual, real, honest to God Recaro leather seats.
Oh.
And so it had red and black, red
I
interior
remember
Recaro
seeing
seats.
that. Yep,
And so when you post it up,
yep. I went down a deep rabbit hole with that fucking thing, dude. I did all the research on it.
yeah, when you posted that up, I was like, are you shitting me?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's going to be destroyed. It's going to be worth nothing. It's going to be a complete garbage car.
No, but if you read it, he was like, it came from the south or from the west or the desert or something like that. Only here for a couple of years, and then he had all the records and all. That was a loved. It was a loved car, man. It was the dude was like, He blew it on weekends just
Was
to
it a
keep it
local
happy.
guy that was selling it, or
I don't remember
Where's it from?
exactly.
So he's in
where.
Wellington.
Wellington, okay.
So he's in your neighborhood.
Oh, that's right.
So he's
Was
in
it?
Wellington.
Wow.
It was in my 20-mile search radius.
It was in your 20-mile search radius.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's had 7 of them.
Oh.
what?
So he's the guy.
He's the guy.
Wow, excellent.
And this was the one
Even
that
better.
after having 7 of them, like this is his keeper. This was his car.
Right.
He's had it for 16 years.
Yep, that's what the ad said.
It came with everything extra.
Yeah.
Whole extra set of wheels, the whole thing. Like he literally put everything into it. And including stuff that's on the dashboard that he got out of Isuzu Troopers and he got out of Isuzu Amigos. So like cruise control buttons and stuff that didn't exist in the Viacross.
Oh, it has that, and then he hooked it up and
he
it
hooked
works?
it up and it works.
Oh, nice.
So the interior is red and black.
Yeah.
The
saw those.
leather Recaro seats look like what a 96-year-old cow would look like. The phrase dry does not begin to cover these leather seats. I do not know what I'm going to do about it, but I'm going to do something. But
Saddle soap.
it's got 100,000 miles on it.
Yep.
And which is when they say you should do the timing belt. It's not an interference motor, so we got that going for us.
Right.
I bought it while I was in Hawaii.
Oh, nice. Over to the floor.
I bought it over the phone, did a Venmo, and said, if you sell this to anybody else, well, we have a mutual friend. Do you guys remember when we had a red Aramachi Harley Davidson Cafe Racer that was here in our store? That Sparky had kind of hand-built from the ground up?
Yeah.
Probably the worst aesthetic, tasteful, least tasteful vehicle ever.
Yeah.
PhD.
Thank you. Yep. And well, that is this doctor's that owns that Aramachi. This is his best friend. So he's like, oh, we've met before. And I'm like,
Okay.
you're an old white man. That means fucking nothing to me, man. That means nothing at all. So
Are you going to put the 36 mud tires on it?
I am not. In 1999, it came with 16-inch wheels.
That's impressive.
And then in
for-
2000, the last year they made it in 2001 or 2000, they did momentarily upgrade to 18-inch wheels, and that's what I'm going to put on it.
Okay.
Which are,
Is that what's on that thing in the picture?
these are 18s in the picture.
And that's lifted, though,
That's
right?
lifted
That's
2
what I was
inches.
gonna ask,
That's
so-
a 2-inch body lift.
And that's it's not lifted, the one that you
Mine
bought.
is not lifted.
Okay.
Mine
Are you
is,
planning on lifting it?
we'll see.
That's what I thought.
So
Okay.
what he did,
It looks pretty dope with
it does look pretty dope.
It
with the
does.
lifted. What he did was, in order to run the 18s, you take the back springs off, the Isuzu springs off, and you put Jeep springs on, and the front is torsion bar. So then you crank up your torsion bar in the front,
So it doesn't. Yeah.
and that
Levels it
elevates
out.
I was
it and
going to
levels it
say,
out.
or you can okay, you don't do spring spacers or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now it is set up that I can slide. I can just pop the 18s on it. And I don't give a fuck about it being the original chrome Viacross. I don't give a shit about that. I'll find something cheap and cheerful on Tire Rack.
Because it's cool, man.
Or if you...
Fancy.
I'll talk to you.
Fake beadlocks.
So the guy, just for fun. I know, right? Well, so just for fun, because this guy's had all these, this Viacross came with the vehicle.
Yeah.
Not one, because he didn't want. So if you look at the back of a Viacross, it's got this circle on the back and the tailgate, which is there's actually a real spare tire in there.
Right.
Well, not a real spare tire, a
Little donut
compact,
thing,
Yeah.
right? A safety space saver. So there's a space saver back there, but he didn't want that. So he went and bought not one, not two, but 3 actual real proper model year Viacross rims.
Oh.
So he could have a full-size spare.
Damn.
Yeah, but I don't need all that. So I have 7 too many wheels.
So that. All
So
that came
anybody
with
who's
it?
in the anybody's in the market for some 16-inch, if you've got an Isuzu Trooper, if you've got an Amigo, if you've got anything with a 5x5.5 bolt pattern, which is a lot of cars, I've got 7 chrome Isuzu factory wheels that I don't want anymore because originality means nothing to me.
Maybe put them up on one of the forums and say trade for
That's
seats.
kind of what I'm doing. Well,
Oh,
no.
yeah.
So the front seats are real
Yeah,
ashies, and he did the right thing, and he took the back seats out. Because if you have the back seats in, it's just useless. But if you have the back seats out, it's a nice storage area for putting your shit. So, because it is still fun that way. But anyhow, so that's it. So that's what I
Yeah,
bought.
that's cool,
That was
man.
the first dumb thing I bought.
Is that the only thing
Have you
bought?
taken delivery of it? Have you driven it or no? Yeah.
I picked it up at his house.
Okay.
And took it for a lovely test ride with him in it because we got the weather. Because I'm not going to drive the fucking thing anywhere near Salt.
Right.
He's like, it's never been near Salt. He goes, I don't order French fries at the drive-thru. It has never been near Salt. He's like,
Does
I'm
it
not
look
joking.
like when you were underneath it, is it clean as it looked in the pictures?
It's perfect.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's perfect underneath. It was purchased in San Diego, California.
Yeah, and then in the desert.
And then he
or something, right?
moved to New Mexico.
Yes, that was it.
So you should ship it back to Japan.
Yeah. Look, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's probably worth a lot more money there than it is here. But anywho, so I bought it, and it wasn't expensive.
Nice.
He was very friendly on the price.
Let's get back to there's a kindred spirit in my town where I thought only dudes like Dodge trucks. So what's going on with that? Where was this dude at? What part of town?
Yeah, well, no, he's at his brother's house. And they got a big garage set up, and they restore the old vehicles and stuff and the whole deal, and he's got a bunch of motorcycles
You
and
have to
shit.
tell me where it was.
I can do
I think
that.
I know where the garage. I think I passed it.
Yeah. So anyway, but I thought that was funny. I bought an Isuzu.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. It's pretty cool.
So that's going to be your winter beater?
Yeah, right. No, I got a fucking Previa for that. So I got a all-wheel drive supercharged Previa with really skinny, nasty snow tires
If
on
you
it.
keep this habit up, though,
Yeah.
you're going to get to be like Hoffert, where you're just going to have
Yeah.
a car to drive
Yeah.
for the whole summer. Like, not for the whole I mean, a day for the whole summer.
No, that way past that
Yeah.
already. Right, way the fuck past that. So many stupid things I own, and I got a guy coming to buy one of my Previas. One of my Previas is being sold on Monday. The guy's coming up from West Virginia or somewhere to buy it. That's cool.
You still
And-
have some of those spikes for the tires? Drill a couple.
Oh, fuck yeah.
One or two rows.
One or two here or there. Yeah, right. For the good stuff. And so then yesterday,
2 days ago.
2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. At 12:30 p.m., we saw this house on Realtor.com. And less than 30 minutes later, I was in the driveway. Our friend, who is named Anna Lee, and she does all the chopper stuff, and she does Women in the Wind, and she's badass, right? Obviously. So Anna Lee, turns out Anna Lee's the fucking listing agent on this thing. So I see this house, and this is a motorcycle podcast. Why the fuck are we talking about cheap houses in Cleveland? Here's why, my friend.
Well, we talk about whatever the fuck we want.
That's
okay?
true. Don't try to put me in a pigeonhole.
Word.
You guys remember our friend Tom Pennington? He was here on our podcast with us a couple of weeks ago. And Tom's
Used
been
the word friend lately, but that's
Fuck
fine.
you. Tom's been a friend for a long time.
I can see what catches my eye in the backyard.
I know,
it's
me
peeking
too.
out at you. It's peeking out at you
Yeah.
there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, hi, look in the backyard. So Tom is coming to Cleveland. I mean, we've kind of been keeping that under our hat, but this is the official announcement. So Tom's coming to Cleveland, and Tom is going to be our new head mechanic. For now, that means only mechanic, but we'll see what happens. All right, it just means more head. The issue with Tom is Tom's been in New Orleans for a very long time. Anybody who knows Tom's got a bunch of shit. Tom's got a bunch of bikes, whatever. So moving Tom into Cleveland is not something you do renting ein van, right? It's going to be a process.
An Atlas.
Exactly. So anyhow,
The Mayflower.
all of them, yeah. So, we kind of had some ideas. One idea was we were going to put Tom into Oscar's house. But Oscar's landlord has a rule that says nothing hairier than an Oscar is allowed in his house.
That's pretty hairy. But yeah.
Even made Oscar's girlfriend shave.
Yeah. Hey, I had to Manscaped 2.0.
Fucking kick Jackie out. Yeah, anyway. Sorry, Jackie. If there's any chance in hell you made a mistake and you're listening to this podcast, we love you. So, anyway. So, we got to find an apartment. And Tom's looking. And we're looking.
But it's not like he just has pets. He also has how many motorcycles?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Cleveland Moto number of motorcycles.
Right.
Like he could just slide right in here and be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I was topping my garage with just one car and like a moped and two other scooters, and it was tight.
And you were maxed out.
I was maxed the
in that
fuck out.
garage. And
a more.
yeah. So renting, like finding a place to rent
Yeah,
that
it's hard.
has adequate garage
hard.
space is fucking impossible. Yeah. So I kind of was like, man, this guy's never going to find a rental that's going to suit his needs. It's never going to happen. So Badger and I started let's look at some houses, because the market right now is bonkers.
Still right.
The market's still exploded. It's inflated, but the interest rate just went up a lot. Yeah. And so a lot of people are dumping shit that they can't afford their mortgage on, their interest rates. And being in our neighborhood here in Cleveland, we are in a very good neighborhood where we are at the moment. We're in what I like to call an extremely good, but still working class neighborhood. Yeah. We are still Cleveland, but it is not hard to go not too far in certain directions and end up getting lightly stabbed. Okay? So we don't want Tom to be living somewhere that it's stabby. Right? So
you should have found a place down there on Tuckahoe.
Fucking Tuckahoe or train or any, fight your way into the town, man.
Tuckahoe, fuckahoe.
Get to Cleveland the hard way, right? So as we're roaming around looking at all these properties, I instantly just changed all my search metrics to 2-car garage or bigger.
Nice.
And it turns out that's a really fun way to look at houses.
Yeah.
So this house in question, who gives a shit about the house? It's a house. Okay?
You sleep there.
You sleep there.
But I looked at the pictures. It's a nice house.
Yeah,
it is.
And
it is built like a brick shit house. Yeah. So it is so fucking... So the same...
Old deck in the front.
The same old man and his wife have owned it since 1975. Okay? And he's now in assisted living and she's dead. The floors are hard as nails. They're all extremely good hardwood floors. Even the bullshit patio that's been turned into a Florida room and completely boxed in with, triple pane windows and the whole deal, even that, which anybody in Cleveland knows, front porches are made out of 1-inch boards and they sag.
Yeah.
This thing is hard as nails.
Nice.
So if you fell down in there, you're going to break your hip. All the woodwork, nobody painted the woodwork. It's all still original, like black walnut stain or whatever the fuck it is.
Beautiful.
It's got the built-ins.
Chimney.
God bless them. They never replaced the cabinets in 1976. It has the original cabinets from 1951.
They're kind of coming back in
which are maple. And they're maple and they're timeless, right? So that's good. So we like that. Nothing wrong with that.
Out and it would completely update.
That's exactly what Renee said.
Yeah.
Master bedroom. It's orange,
who
cares?
You got the eye hooks up there on
the
ceiling?
You do have the eye hooks on the ceiling and the crucifix. The bathroom hasn't been updated
ever,
right?
It's not pink and black, though.
It's not pink and black, right?
Well, it's got grab rails, too.
It does have grab rails.
That computer system that's in there hasn't been upgraded since 1984.
Again, 1976.
88.
This curious little door in the second bedroom. The curious little door in the second bedroom goes up to the
upstairs.
I'm not really an attic, which I can stand up in there no problem. And they've got a weirdly, strangely semi-finished attic in there with hardwood floors as well.
That works. So they probably insulated it and then slapped that cardboard up.
Yeah. It's not cardboard. It's
fiberboard or something?
Some kind of fiberboard.
Oh, it's even better.
It ain't cardboard, yeah.
Sweet.
The basement, though, is the pièce de résistance. The basement is where 1950s bars.
Every house like that had them.
Time stopped.
Parma, like Peggy's mom's house was that exactly. Naughty pine all over the place.
Though.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
I like that.
A little bar, and then usually like she had a mountain scene, like a lake with mountains, like a mural panel on the wall with lighting and everything.
So this has a front bar, a wet bar. This has an actual wet bar.
Nice.
And has a back bar. So this thing's got a legit front bar and a back bar. And there's got to be 50 or 60 bottles of liquor, and I don't think any one of them is newer than 1981.
Ooh,
right? So
who
knows
liquors?
Who knows what's hiding in there?
And they're not taking any of that out?
Well, negotiations will ensue.
Listen, we don't want to haggle about the price.
That's how I got my house in Conneaut. I'm like, everything can stay, because I knew it was a 70-some-year-old guy.
Right.
Didn't have any wherewithal to clean everything out, and I'm like,
leave everything.
I'll clean it out. I'll get a dumpster, and I did.
And that's exactly what we're gonna do.
And I filled up a 40 fucking yard dumpster.
Because there's stuff Tom needs.
Yeah.
And this house
there's his towel right there.
Hasn't been changed since 1957.
There's a lot of stuff I didn't throw away. You know what I mean?
And that's the point. Right. That's the point. The point is, we know that this is going to present a serious problem for the kids, because he ain't coming and moving that shit. No. So the kids who are his kids, if there's any, are going to be tasked with getting rid of all this shit. And there's like a 50s Art Deco drop leaf table down there. There's a dining room table down there.
That's cool.
The concrete is less than 8 years old.
Nice.
And that driveway is 1 3/4 cars wide.
That's good.
It looks like it's sloping away from the house.
It's sloping beautifully.
Yeah.
And the garage is a solid 3-car garage, but set up for 2.5. So you could fit 2 full-size vehicles in there, plus have all the workshop area over here.
That's my garage.
Yeah. It's a super high roof, and it's deeper than fuck. So I measured...
Look at the garage next to it.
I know. Yeah, to put it in scale, the original, like what the
That
garage...
was what my Cleveland Heights garage was. I used to have all my bikes packed into. It was the one to the left over there.
Right. So you can see the difference between a Cleveland Moto size garage and a normal 2-car garage.
Yeah.
So I would have bought this place for the garage.
Yeah, I mean, are you going to let Tom in the house, or does he have to live in the garage?
Well, so...
No, he's not allowed in the garage at all.
The other way around. Yeah, it's in the house. He's not touching the garage. Yeah.
So we're like, okay. So I was like, well, if it wasn't Tom, because the way the house is set up, there is a back door for that. You just take a look. Do you see how there's 2 back doors?
Yeah.
So the upper back door goes into the kitchen. The lower back door goes into the staircase for the basement. And there's a door in between. So you could have the house separated and have a basement dweller, like a in-law, mom-in-law, or whatever, privacy.
Or a speakeasy.
Or you could have whoever lives up here not have access to our special German podcast room.
Yes. I like that idea.
I know, right? So, but since Tom's there, we'll give Tom access. So that's it. But anyway, I thought you guys would dig it.
Limited though?
What's that?
Can it be
limited access. It's his, it's where he's living.
What's the password?
But so rather than him trying to find a place to rent, he can rent from me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's right over there near Warren Village, too.
So where it is exactly right. So if you, for people who listen to the podcast, nobody gives a shit.
Away.
But it is 0.8 miles away from where we're sitting right now.
Wow.
So it's not even a hard walk.
It's like 4 stoplights from here.
Yeah, exactly. And it is,
well,
so Triscuit, once Warren peels off to the left, you just go up 2 streets.
And let me say something like this. So think about this.
You go to the end of the street and it's Warren Village.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
So, but
So what street is it? Triscuit?
West 152nd and Triscuit.
152.
But do you understand how much that adds to, first of all, salary, second of all, quality of life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I love my job. Love it, 100%. But I still have 10 hours a week of commute, and I have to get up an hour earlier because of the commute.
Yep.
And gas.
Yeah, you're not getting your beer.
You can walk home from here to let your dogs out and walk back in less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Right.
Easy.
Yeah.
That's a good lunch.
It's a good lunch walk, right? Yeah.
Yeah, since you're missing a lot of beauty sleep, I can tell.
Oh, man, it's
You
killing
see
me.
this thing? It's gotten worse.
Yeah.
I know.
It's money maker.
Does your face hurt?
Yeah.
It's killing us.
I know.
Yeah. But it's funny. It's it's got the corner fireplace and all that all that funny stuff.
Is
The
Is that
gas-
a wood burner or is that
No, it's a gas.
locked off?
That's going to be a gas bullshit.
Yeah.
I probably wasn't even a fireplace. Is it?
You know what that is? That's one gas line
Yeah.
coming into something that used to be one of those gas burner units that they made them get rid of in the 60s and 70s. They went in and they're like, no, that's going to kill your family.
Yeah.
But with today's modern high efficiency inserts, you can put something in there that's 98% efficient.
Yeah.
And the only thing that comes out of it is humidity.
Right.
So, those aren't bad now. You can have that thing and have it actually be functioning as a fireplace again.
It actually probably has a flue. It goes all the way up to
It
the
does.
ceiling.
I looked at it. So I looked at it, and it definitely has.
I turned I had the gas insert, and I burnt wood in mine.
Oh, you did?
But I put a damper and everything, and
Yeah.
built it now. But then now I've got it all that out.
Yeah.
And I went and put an insert, a wood burning insert.
Yeah.
And I was trying to put a liner in, but I couldn't fit a 6-inch liner, and so
No.
now I just have it going up into the flue tile and whatever.
Because our basement, we have one of these in our basement that was original equipment, 1951. And it's the same corner configuration with one, 1/2-inch gas line going into it. And
I used the 1/2-inch gas line as a lighter, so I just throw my wood in there, turn the gas on, poof.
Instant. Yeah. And mine is all going out through a 4-inch piece of galvanized pipe.
You got gas burning there. Then your thing doesn't even go into a pipe. It just goes into the thing, right?
No, my insert.
Right, the insert.
Well, now I have an insert, so I don't use the gas line anymore. But when I had it as a
Put wood in
fireplace,
there.
when I had it in a grate, I had a gas line and it went underneath it and had jets. It was made to be a lighter.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And you turn the key on the floor, and the gas goes, psh, and you go, woof.
Yeah. And throw wood on it?
Then you throw your wood in there. It heats up it gets everything drawing nice and everything like that.
Okay. I thought you had like the spigot hanging out and you're just like turning it on.
No, that's what they were meant to be. But
Shit.
Yeah.
I wish I could somehow tap that into my insert, though, and actually have it like just a little rail.
you know what, John, though? Now that you bring that up, I'm looking at this picture.
Yeah. That could be a wood-burning fireplace.
And I think it might be.
Yeah.
I think it might
looks
be.
like it.
I think you're right.
There's problems with the way the firebox is built.
Yes.
For heat efficiency.
Yeah, no, it's a mess.
So the back should curve more, and the sides should never go straight back. They should go like this.
Yeah.
That helps send heat up. But
Right.
you take a look at it, and you look up in there, and be surprised.
We'll see what it's built out of. Yeah, because I noticed that there's one thing that's missing in all this, and you see there's no operator handle for a flip.
Yeah, but like
a lot of them you have to reach up.
The damper that I had, you just pushed it up and like this.
Okay.
Which
All
is the one I bought, but I got rid of that. I shouldn't have, but
Yeah. So anyway, so we have a house now.
Cleveland Moto House.
Dude,
Cleveland Moto House.
that would be so sick. Oh, dude. And then like,
Cleveland Moto owns it, dude.
no, I know, but I'm saying like
Yeah.
it's going to be it. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Bring some Moto stories back into play down in the basement.
We have a Cleveland Moto house now.
Yeah.
just so you know, Tom, I mean, you're going to be living there and everything, but you know,
But it's a studio.
There's going to be 9
we
guys. that have a
reserve the
key.
right to barge in anytime.
Fuck yeah.
Great. Okay. Ta-da.
So all the Crackle cast will be over there.
All the Crackle
and
Castle,
yeah,
right. Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but the backyard's already set up to have a fire pit in it.
Perfect.
Fuck yeah.
It seems like the perfect place that if we get too drunk, we could just crash there with Tom and snuggle in
Snuggle with
him.
Tom.
Yeah,
Yep, that's exactly right. So anyway, I thought you guys would get a kick out of that. Big fun. So, yay.
What's the matter? You don't want to come snuggle with me, but you go snuggle with Tom? Fine.
Yeah.
Got hit?
Hey, and that's and so now anybody wants to know, like, so, you know, what are you guys spending my Patreon money on? Houses, bitch.
Houses.
Yeah. No, we're not.
Do we have any hate mail?
You know what? I gotta say, we're a little
that's
shy on.
That's coming next week.
We're a little shy on hate mail, but I'm pretty sure.
After they hear the drop,
A little bird told me that based on the podcast that we dropped today, that everyone else is going to listen to in a week or whatever, that shit
got real.
Oh man, the end of that podcast. Meckle Fresh just brought thunder.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, fucking hell, man, just ridiculous.
402.
Ridiculous. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's not one of those things like, oh, we're drunk the whole podcast and it's a fucking hot mess. No, not at all.
That was not it.
No, it's just that
There was buzzedness going on.
But I think John had an extra fucking B12 or something.
Yeah.
Like John had like a 12-hour energy
He
or some
was
shit.
giving me some pills earlier at work. I don't know what they were. He gave me some stuff. I don't know what it was.
I don't know what it was. It was like a gummy bear thing. I have no idea. But you
He
definitely
said something about one being a god pill or something
god
like
pill.
that. I don't know what that was, man.
There was a blue pill. There was a red pill. It was. I'm so happy that it happened, and I listened to it all the way through today, and I gotta say, all right. So from now on, we were going to ask for consent for all of our podcasts.
Happy 2023, guys.
Right, happy 2023, the year of consent.
I got some consent a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
So that's absolutely a real thing. When we are in the world of motorcycle stuff, I have to tell folks, I know we haven't had a tech session in a while. Apparently we fucking need to. Okay, if you're a person that listens to this podcast, your job is to grab one friend who doesn't listen to this podcast.
Yes.
And clue them in on the next thing we're about to say. Batteries are really fucking important if you want to ride your motorcycle.
Especially
Now,
if it's a Honda.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And here's another tip from your Unkie Phil. I want you to picture every battery that you have in your life. You have a car, it has a battery. You have a boat, it probably has a battery.
I have a pen. I have a pineapple.
Pineapple pen. So, not to be too much of a dick, but here's the simple thing. I tell people on the phone at least 6 times a week, I want you to think of your brand new battery that came in your brand new motorcycle as a puppy. Okay. And if you get a puppy and you just don't do anything to it, at about the 3 or 4 week point, your puppy is a lot less fun. John?
Remember that beautiful weather we had back there?
Yes.
You know what I did?
Yep.
Went out in my garage, fired off each one of my bikes, let them run for a good half hour and everything.
Yeah.
Gave them a chance
They got
to
warm.
run a little fresh gas, turn the fuel tap off, let them run the gas out of the carb, recharge up the batteries. It was a beautiful, no strain. The bikes started really easy because they weren't at -5.
Yep.
Pick that one nice little day and just go start everything up. That makes a big difference.
Oh, my fucking God. This week, because we haven't had the normal 29 inches of snow that we have, what have we had? We've had 19 inches of rain.
Cold rain.
It's been cold
almost
rain.
worse.
Right. Well, here's the problem.
Chilling.
Here at the store, when it's snowy and it's nasty and it looks bad out your window, everyone obligatorily forgets that they have two-wheeled vehicles. We don't even want to talk about it.
Yep.
It'll make us sad. We don't bring it up. It just it's not an issue. But having this like phantom spring where it's 42, 53 degree drizzles and drizzling
For shizzles.
then people are like, oh, I have a motor scooter. I have a motorcycle in the garage, and I'm so sad that I can't ride it right now. I'm going to go out and try to start it. And these are the phone calls that I normally get in March. I take them all. These are the phone calls I normally get in March, but I'm getting them now in mid-January. Now, here's the trip. The only thing that's different is the calendar. So all these people that are experiencing total battery failure January, 12th?
Well, a week after the coldest thing that happened in
history.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This week alone, I have had no less than 10 people call me and go, I went out to my bike and I did everything you told me to do. I put it in the garage and I forgot about it. And I have that battery tender thing that you sold me.
Can't find it.
I went out and the bike wouldn't start, so I hooked the battery tender thing up to it. Great. And how long's the battery been hooked up, sir? How long's battery tender been hooked to it? Oh, at least an hour. Okay, guys, remedial course. 1, batteries are puppies. If you don't feed them, they'll fucking die. But before they die, they're going to make your life hell, all right? So you're going to have a bad time and you're going to feel bad about yourself. And I'm going to get to talk to you on the phone like you're a fucking idiot. Because you're a fucking idiot. And if you think I don't like talking to you like you're a fucking idiot, you're wrong. I used to be a sergeant in the Army. I love talking to you like you're a fucking idiot. And I can make you feel dumb fast. And I'll ask you important questions like, so since you've owned the bike for 126 days, how many of those days that you've owned the bike has it been plugged into the Optimate tender that I gave you, that I installed the leads for at no charge? Right. How many of those 126 days, I'm looking at your invoice, for how many of those 126 days has it been plugged in? Is the answer 0? Well, you're just fucking stupid. Right?
I mean, you got to at some point.
You're just dumb.
Yeah.
When you ran out of gasoline, did you not put gasoline in it? Well, you've run out of electrons, bitch. So, 1, your battery will lose 1% of its charge every single day.
Really?
According to God, Jesus, physicists, and electricians everywhere. Because it's a battery. And I got bad news if you got one of these fancy electric powered motorcycles, the big lithium batteries in it. You go, oh, lithiums are great. They don't lose any charge. Oh, I've got 17 batteries over there. I can prove to you you're wrong. Lithiums do lose charge. Lithiums suffer either a parasitic or atmospheric loss the same way AGM, absorbed glass mat batteries, or even lead acid batteries. If you are not actively putting a charge into a battery, a charge is coming out of it. Yeah, and do you know where it's going? To the air. Yeah. Go ahead, John.
Well, I have a question. I mean,
fire away.
You say to the air, but it's not to the air. It's a chemical thing.
That's right.
You have a catalyst inside. And so basically what's happening is oxidation, like it's the plates.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So they break down while it sits there and it's not being charged up. And so it's a chemical process, actually. It's not just, it's not evaporating out.
No. Did Neil Young...
But the ions are working again. And because when you have acids, you end up with salts.
Yes.
And so you're making salt and air and water when you have that reaction. So you're making salt in the battery, which is not good for the battery, and the water evaporates.
Chris Smith,
So
what did Neil Young say?
Rust never sleeps.
Motherfucking right. Motherfucking right.
And they have to have a breather because it's a sealed case. And so they're breathing just like your gas tank breathing. So it's respiring. It's slow respiration.
Yep.
Where you're introducing fresh air and it's breathing.
But John,
it's not
I did what my grandpa told me to do, and I took the battery out of the bike and I brought it into the house, and it's sitting down by my hot water heater in the basement.
Yeah.
And I applaud that. That's a great idea, getting it out of the ice cold, freezing cold, because it's, despite the fact that your dad used to put the D batteries in the refrigerator.
Yep.
Not good with a wet cell.
I'm going to go back to the puppy metaphor.
Yeah.
I appreciate the puppy is now sitting next to your water tank in your basement. Have you fed the fucker?
Right. Right. It's better, but it's not actually
You've
helping.
just brought the problem in the house.
Now you have a warm, starving dog.
Warm, starving dog. The difference is the dog will bark when he's fucking hungry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So that's part of the problem. If you don't own... And I'm going to go, if you listen to the podcast as long as we made the podcast.
Galvanic action.
You have heard, we
just have to throw words out there.
Yeah, just throw words out. Oh, look. No. The latest one you have to put out is the algorithm. Say algorithm again, motherfucker. I dare you.
The algo.
The algorithm. Anyway, that's the latest buzz speak. All of my people all the people who are trying to get me to buy bikes this year, all the people who are trying to give me inventory I don't want, are all saying, but the algorithm says you need to have 126 bikes on your floor. Whatever. I love it. They're calling.
Think I'm 52
somebody's
years
calling
old?
on the only phone.
You think I'm 52 years old and I've never heard the word algorithm?
Exactly. No shit, man. I grew up in the 70s when everything was all about logarithms and algorithms and your sign and everything else.
The sign.
Been there.
I'm sorry,
that.
bitch. I don't need to order 136 bikes. I'm a Gemini.
Oh, you're
Read
such
my
a
chart,
Gemini.
bitch. Yeah.
I know one thing. There's bikes I've got paid for, and there's bikes
I'm Scorpio rising. Fuck your hat. All right. So, anywho, back to the batteries. Look, guys, if you don't own something that says battery tender, medium level of effectiveness, or Optimate, higher level of effectiveness, or an Optimate 3 or 4 or something that really hits it from every angle, or the NOCO charging systems are wonderful. These things are between $30 and $70, and they will save you a $159 battery that you will accidentally murder. Because if you treated a child or a dog like you treat your battery, you'll be in jail.
See, McElfresh is running a puppy mill over here. Because I take a little bit of care of my battery. Like, I'll start them up and stuff like that. But I don't have any battery tender leads or anything like that.
Yeah.
But guess what? I buy cheap, junky batteries.
Right.
I'm prepared to spend $44 on a new battery every year.
You get a puppy every year, baby.
I get a new one every year. It's a different name.
It's not a.
You don't name it.
Every
Don't
Christmas.
name
It's not a present. It's a puppy. It's not a present. It's a promise. No. In John's case,
If my puppy lasts 2 or 3 years, I'm like, wow.
yeah. Well,
This is a special puppy.
This is a fighting dog here.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep this one around.
That's why Piper's kind of like, she has kind of a backbone to her. Because you've been just killing puppies in front of her whole life.
Right. Oh yeah. And she's like, I'm his daughter. I see the way he treats batteries. If I don't feed myself, I'm not going to eat.
You're fucking right.
Raise a survivor, John. Raise a survivor. Batteries go into John's house and they're like, oh shit, it's real around here, man.
I'm fucking freezing.
Fucking what the fuck, man? This is ridiculous, man.
Don't say nothing. Don't say anything. He might see you.
I have got 2 bikes in our room today. 2 bikes showed up today. The bikes are less than 150 days old. And both of them have murdered batteries. Jeez. Now,
I don't get upset by that. I go on Amazon. Doop, 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 doop. What's the cheapest battery I can find?
Dude, he's now BTK. Battery torture kill.
Battery
torture kill. So I mean, okay, yeah, I get that. I'm gonna call it and just be like the smallest. Okay, a YTX 12. A YTX 12 is kind of like the universal.
Let's just go YTX 14 because that's what takes the Versys.
Right. Yeah.
And the KLR.
That's what the Versys takes.
And the KLR.
So we'll do
14.
YTX 14. So we'll do a YTX 14. So looking at Amazon, oh my God, I hate doing this. So there's a battery called the Wheezy. Mm-hmm. That's not Wheezy.
That's expensive. That $27 one looks good to me.
$27.89. No, John, that's false advertising. It's the YTX 5. So that's for Honda Metropolitans.
Okay.
So a proper YTX 14 Wheezy is going to be $44.89. There's the Mighty Max.
You got to be able to find. I'm looking for $36.
The Mighty Max is $44.99.
And free shipping.
And the Mighty
Prime.
Max $49.99. Right? Now, you guys may know if you've been here at the shop, I have had these Chrome Pros around.
Yeah.
I had some of these Chrome Pros around that have the button on top for the digital meter.
Yeah.
And they're actually pretty fucking good. For
Where's
$59.
the Sigma's Tech?
Right.
So it's like $4 a month.
Yeah.
Per battery.
You're just renting your battery.
You're just
a
renting your
battery
battery?
lease.
Yeah, 4 months.
Give me a Sigma Tech one, and those are the good ones.
Those are the good ones. Those are the best. All right. So here's where our podcast is.
Honestly, though, Yuasa, I really do like Yuasa a lot.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
It's $100.
It's $100.
It's $100. Okay, guys. So now it's time for the real talk. Now it's time for the.
Don't be a douche.
Do you remember when I told you to grab a friend that didn't listen to the podcast?
I mean, I can I can change a battery. It's like I'm wiping my ass. So
ain't no big deal.
I don't really care.
It ain't
But
no
the
big
average
deal.
person probably doesn't want to go through the hassle of taking everything apart and changing their battery. Yeah. So bump up to at least a Yuasa or something like that.
They'll last longer.
And then,
and take
like
care
Phil
of it.
says, take a little bit of care of it. And you know.
Okay.
But never blame Phil for your pupp's suffering.
PSA
If
time.
you call me and tell me
There's a Sigmas for 43. I want it.
See it? Yeah. He's going to buy 3 of them now. So here's the podcast heads up. 1, if you bought a car or a boat or a jet ski or a motorcycle 160 days ago, fuck man, 31 days ago, and if your battery is dead, let me tell you how much support you're going to get from the guy you bought the bike from. As Chris Smith would say,
Squatouche.
squatouche.
No, my car batteries are even brutal or more brutal.
He's having another conversation, and he heard us conjure his name, and he's like, I'll be there in a minute. Okay, anyway, not important.
Squatouche.
But here's the important thing. Your motorcycle will have a 2-year warranty.
Right.
Or a 1-year warranty.
Sure.
It may have unlimited miles. It may have whatever. Okay? Your motorcycle's warranty has fuck all to do with your battery warranty.
Right.
Your battery is not a part of your motorcycle.
It's not part of the assembly.
It is not a part of the thing. So, well, my motorcycle's got a 2-year warranty. Yeah, your battery had a...
Sound like President Biden.
It's true, right?
The thing.
A thing.
The thing and went to the...
Yeah. Oh, for real. But here's absolutely the fucking truth. If you come into my shop and you buy the most expensive battery that I sell, and you leave here and you bring that battery back to me at 29 days, I can argue on your behalf to my supplier that you should get a free battery.
Yeah, that quick, it had a problem.
Okay. But if it's not, if it's the wrong side of 30 days, there is not a motherfucker that I buy from. And I'm talking about, I give some of these companies millions of dollars a year. Parts Unlimited, who owes me 93,000 retroactive blowjobs. Ever since like COVID hit and they don't do dealer like spiffs anymore. But like I order from them the way that I used to when I used to make them buy me dinners, right?
All the way down to the nuts.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I used to look at my
good
parts,
old days.
I used to look at my Parts Unlimited. I used to look at my Parts Unlimited rep, and I was like, "How's your gag reflex?" You're gonna have to go to Tucker Rocky, man. Because if you need to go to Western Power Sports. Because if you're gonna be my Parts Unlimited rep, we need to talk about you tricking me into buying a barrel of oil instead of quarts of oil. Like, there's things you're gonna have to learn how to do to make your own life easier and to get your numbers up where they need to be. Yeah. So you get a toaster that says Chris Craft on the back of it this year.
Right.
And I get a good deal.
Yep. And a little tickling on the
and
ball.
it's a symbiotic relationship. Here's the rule. If your battery's over 31 days old and it's not 100%, it's your fault. but nothing. It's your fucking fault because nobody's going to give you a free one. Now, if it's 29 days old, you're probably going to get a battery, even if you fucked it up. But it's really fucking hard to kill a battery.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Here's how you kill a battery. Here's how I kill my batteries. I start the bike up because I want to start the bike up. Yeah. And I run it for 30 minutes. Then I turn the fuel tap off.
Yeah.
So I run all the fuel out and I walk away.
And the bike commits suicide with the key on.
And 3 months later, I come back and I'm shopping for another Sigma stick.
Okay, so John's figured out the correct way to murder a battery.
It's happened to the best of us.
But incidentally, that is the one thing that will really murder a battery. Discharging it down to zero and leaving it there for a few
leaving
weeks.
it that way.
Yeah.
So if you want to program and kill a battery, it's really easy to do. But let's help our folks out. Let's help the listeners out. So here's the real talk. I know that anybody who I respect is going to tell you that you need to buy a Yuasa battery. And I'm going to tell you that too, because that's good fucking information. But
even my scummy ass believes that Yuasas are definitely better. They will actually take I left my key on for a week or two. They'll come back.
They'll come back.
Yeah.
And that's what you're buying a battery for. It's not for I can't kill it. It's for can I unfuck my problem? Can the battery come back
Will
from
it take
the
a
deck?
charge? I mean, that's what it is. I mean, some batteries are toast.
Yep.
And they will not take a charge. And as soon as you disconnect the battery charger, it's flat. It will not start the bike.
So,
but a Yuasa will take and hold a charge like very few other batteries.
Right. And when you have made a mistake, you can unfuck that pig, right? But here's the trick. Now that I've said the thing that I need to say, and that is a Yuasa battery is the right battery for your bike every fucking time. Now I'm going to say the part that nobody else is going to say. I don't care what podcast you listen to, they're not going to say it. But if me and 12 dealers were sitting in a room together and I was pouring the drinks, the truth would come out. And the truth is, if your broke ass can't afford a Yuasa, buy the Mighty Max. As fucking Chinesey as that thing is, as bullshit, obviously you are getting garbage.
It's generic. It's a generic battery.
The motherfucker says,
Unbranded.
"Are you powered to the max?" On the side of the case. It is a generic Chinese battery. But here's what I will say about it.
I'm powered by Budweiser and Camel.
If you have, if you're buying an AGM battery, an absorbed glass mat battery, and you must buy a battery on a budget and you don't want to throw down $100 and you want to throw down $50 instead, I'm going to say,
bang for your buck.
yes, I'm going to say out of 22 years of throwing away batteries, and I don't throw them away, I make money on them. When you come into my shop and you pay a battery disposal fee, you notice a smile on my face because I'm getting paid twice. So when you do need to buy a battery and you don't want to buy a Yuasa and you're trying to save money, you can buy a Mighty Max. And they come as standard equipment in a lot of fling poos.
They're coming from China, though.
Yes, they're coming from China in a way that is so blatantly China that it says important things on it like non-spillable. Well, no fucking shit. It's an absorbed glass mat battery, right?
I mean, I haven't tried to look around for some sort of cheap battery that's not from China, like from Indonesia or Malaysia.
There are a lot of them do.
Or Taiwan or India.
But I have tried...
Azerbaijan?
No, Armenia.
I have tried, and my customers have tried without knowing that they were a test group. My customers, without knowing that they were a test group, have brought me a lot of dead batteries. And when they bring me a dead battery, what do you think the first thing I do? I hook it up to a $700 battery recharger that can resuscitate zombie batteries. And it's not your standard bullshit $59 I bought it at Harbor Freight battery charger. It's a really expensive battery charger that has brought back to life a lot of batteries that a lot of other battery testing systems have said, throw this battery in the garbage. And I have that, and I spent the money on it. Why? I'm a tight motherfucker, right? Because sometimes you can spend money and be cheap at the same time. So in this particular case,
But to me, that's just common sense.
it is.
Yeah.
Yuasa, we have a battery charging system in the back of the shop that I swear to God was designed by aliens. You have a battery that can test as being unsurvivable, unbringbackable, and yet this thing in the back will bring a battery back from the dead. And now that's great if you've got a battery that's only
It'll put the paddles on it.
It will. And it will. And if you've got a battery that's only been murdered one time, 9 out of 10 chargers in my shop will not bring it back to life.
So what's happening in recondition mode?
I think we know. So I think John and I both know. It's like taking the safety off, and then taking the other safety off, and then taking the other
Then
safety off.
speeding the crap out of it.
And I think what it is it's the equivalent of what John and I like to do, which is just connect jumper cables.
Yeah.
So, when you take away a circuit board and
The
you're
best
just,
battery charger is another battery.
Exactly. And we have brought back hundreds of batteries.
An associate of ours was trying to develop a machine.
Yep.
A battery charger.
Yeah.
That would feed just a constant 50 amps. Or all the, just give it 12 volts at a maximum amperage continuously.
Yep.
I'm looking at this contraption he's building. I'm like,
The battery.
just hook it to that battery.
Yeah. And
you'll give it 600 cranking amps.
And John and I both, we practice that shit in here. If you look around, I keep my lithium batteries sequestered over there, so I'm never hooking a non-lithium to a lithium because I don't want to know what fire smells like. And then I have, I've got other ones that we do that. And the idea is if your device that you own, whether it's an Optimator or a battery tender, says red flashing light, you can't charge this battery. Oh, get the little jumper cables out.
Yeah. Have you ever wondered why, you go and your car's dead and you bring another car over and you hook it battery to battery and in
no time flat?
In 10 seconds, you can start the other car.
Yeah.
It's because it is putting 600 cranking amps into that other battery.
Right. It spooked it back into life. Yep. And we do that around here. And if you have 7 different devices, load meters and load testers and everything else, and they all say this battery is fucking murdered, give me a half an hour and a known good battery. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that thing up over the threshold. Because anything that has a circuit board in it is going to say, Underwriters Laboratories or my lawyers or whatever have said that I am not allowed to throw voltage at this thing if it's under 10.
Ixnay on the voltage.
Exactly. And so when I check it with my meter,
you hook your good you hook the battery charger up to your good battery.
Yes.
And then hook the good battery up to the bad battery.
Exactly. Thank you, John.
And you might get fire, but make sure it's somewhere where fire's okay.
Good times.
We like to say that certain things were developed before safety.
You'll never get fire. I've never had anything melt down or do anything.
Well, because we have 2 capacitors.
You would have to, I did see a nice video where we don't need men, and some girls were jump starting a car and they reversed the cables and there's these lines of melted bumper and
welded.
where they caught on fire. And
I saw a young lady turn a set of probably, I'm going to say conservatively, 16 gauge jumper cables. Yeah. They were like dollar store jumper cables. Yeah. They were like the Barbie's first jumper cables. Yeah. The ones that come in the little pink car rescue kit. Yeah. And it's got like a pink screwdriver and a pink pair of pliers.
I have that same toolkit at work. They made fun of me, but every motherfucker, they're stealing all my shit out of my pink toolkit.
Oh, well, there you go. And I saw a young lady try to jumpstart a Jeep one time. And the second she hooked up the secondary terminal, and I noticed she wasn't using the ground method. And so if anyone would like to know the rules are very simple. The red terminal, the red terminal, that's positive. Yeah. The red terminal, here's my tip, guys. Just think of the United States Marine Corps. The emblem for the United States Marine Corps is a red medallion, a red shield. And if you remember that, you will remember that the United States Marine Corps' logo is the first in and the last out. Then you will remember that when you're hooking up your cables, you hook up your cables, the red cable is the first in
hottest first
and the last out.
So I also have this little rule is you get down there and you actually find the plus sign.
Yes.
You don't go by the red color is great and everything.
No, I got a few examples in here.
But you actually get your ass down there and you find the plus
You find
and
the plus
negative.
symbol.
Yeah.
If you can't see it, you use Braille, motherfucker.
Whatever you got to do,
Yeah.
you find the fucking plus.
Yeah.
True.
Here's a trick. You want a tip from your Unkie Phil? Take your thumb. That's the one that makes you better than other animals. Take your thumb and push it real hard into the battery case next to where the metal terminal goes in. And then pick your thumb up and look at it. If you have a positive sign on your thumb, you found the positive terminal. You don't even need a flashlight, motherfucker. You have a thumb.
It's always an
and it turns
indentation
out
on the
our
battery.
fingertips are made out of Play-Doh. And you can use your thumb, which is made out of Play-Doh, to get an impression on the battery terminal, because I've had plenty of motherfucking batteries that some engineer put under the motorcycle.
Side question.
Yeah, Suzuki.
What is... Fuck you. It was a Katana 600, man. So what do you guys call that? The dough they used to put into newspaper?
putty.
Play-Doh.
Silly putty.
Silly putty.
Silly putty.
Grab the newspaper and it was on top.
Oh yeah, the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just stole the print off the comic.
I know. All right,
It's also good for taking like
That's how you used
stains
to
off
share
of it.
memes
That's
back
from-
in the day.
That was how you shared memes.
I know.
With silly putty. Here, Steve, I sent you a piece of silly putty.
Nice.
Check out this meme.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So anyway, if you do decide, tip from a Unkie Phil, fuck you, it's ClevelandMoto Podcast. We're a little bit
Any of our Patreon listeners,
right. If you want to say
special shout out if we get a silly putty casting of a vagina. Sent in.
Yeah, we need more of those
but
emails.
here's the thing. If you want to spend if you want to try it and you want to spend $40 instead of spending $100, buy a Mighty Max battery. And then if you want to
And a
spend
tender.
$5 more, and this is the true pro tip. If you want to spend $5 more, get the blue one.
Yeah, it's sexy looking.
Because I assure you, I know
It goes
this.
faster.
Look, it's $5 more, and it goes from being an actual activate or absorbed glass mat into being a gel.
Well, I love the GS
okay.
batteries. You can still buy the clear GS.
You can still buy the GSs. I got one sitting over there.
I love those for like my Super Hawk and the bikes that would have normally had a clear battery in them.
But the trick with
So
clear
what's the
batteries,
difference with the?
So I'll bring one up for you. A GS battery is a company that's been making batteries for over 70 years.
So Chris Smith is looking at this bottle of Coquito, which I brought in
Coquito.
for the Hofmeister, but he didn't show up.
No kidding. We got to drink Coquitos.
So fuck the
So
Hoff.
fuck
Yeah.
the Hof, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
the Hoff. Yeah. No. Look,
Yep.
hey, John.
Yay or nay? Yay.
It's here. He's not.
Yeah.
Hey.
And that Coquito is fucking delicious. So,
Okay.
yeah. So GS batteries. Hey.
In your face.
So that's one of those things. If you do want to buy a down market battery and you don't want to spend a ton of money for it, you can do that. You can save some money.
So I thought you were gonna. So one part is the battery, but I thought you were going to go into the tender itself
Because the old green colored
Take a
battery
little sip,
tenders.
cinch. I mean, there's really not that much out. Just one little.
cool.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Look.
Just a little. Just.
So the company.
For the rookies, should
Yeah.
you always like if you have like at least a couple months? Well, not everywhere in the states, but a couple months of snow that you're not going to do shit.
Yeah.
Should you leave 24/7 for 2 months? Your tender hooked up to your
Absolutely.
bike? Okay, because it's going to
Absolutely.
shut it
There's
off.
no
and-
downside to leaving a tender hooked up,
Right.
as long as it's a tender and not a dumb charger.
Right.
Right.
That's
Which you can't
that's
even
a
buy
good, That's a
anymore.
good point.
So-
That's a good
Oh,
point.
Harbor Freight's got dumb chargers that'll fuck
Yeah.
your battery, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
They're
So that's the second level of you need to spend a little bit of money
Yeah.
on a not shitty
exactly
tender,
right.
so you
Yep.
can leave it 24/7, not worry about it.
You know what,
and
though?
not-
If
Some
you
of
grab Grandpa's old battery charger off the
No, you're
shelf, which
fucked.
has no transistorization,
No, you're fucked.
Which is basically just a coil,
Transformer.
a transformer
transducer. Yeah.
that turns 120
Yep.
AC into
AC,
12
yep.
volts,
DC,
or 13 or 14 or 15 volts DC.
Yep.
And all it does is feed it all the time, and it'll dry it right out, and
Yeah. Yep.
you will no longer, because what's in your battery is not just acid. There's water in your battery too.
Yep.
And it's,
You're pretty much boiling it, and then you're fucked. Yeah.
so if you look at your battery, I mean, especially with those old GSs there that are clear, you can actually see that you have no more, you
Starts
think is
bubbling, and
acid,
it's just like, yeah.
but the acid actually doesn't evaporate. It's the water evaporates out of the acid.
Right.
You can actually add water back to them and bring them back to life, but you want to use like distilled, pure, clear water.
But listen,
if you're going to do that.
I'm pro letting people let their batteries run out, because if they do that, they probably aren't going to be a good ride. They don't care about their bikes.
So you can scoop their bikes up cheap?
Well, no, but then I'm saying...
first the battery goes dead.
Then
they let it sit a little longer. Now the carbs are dirty.
No, and then the next
Now we're into motorcycle vampire territory.
Fuck yeah.
No, but I was thinking, like, they don't do any repairs. They go try to ride it. The tires are too low. The battery's dying. Next thing you know, you got a dead kid. They should just sell us those bikes. I think that's the more important aspect to this.
Mm-hmm.
Let the batteries die, take it, and keep moving from there.
Well,
That's my theory.
All right. So one word of...
But we're here to help people.
Right. Because we're here to help people and make fun of you a little bit.
Sergeant Phil.
Tough love.
Tough love. Okay. So now we're going to talk about how you can fuck it up. And here's how you can fuck it up. First thing is, I got a motorcycle charger. How do you know it's a motorcycle charger? Well, there's a picture of a motorcycle on the side of it. Okay. You don't have a motorcycle charger. Okay? I mean, I'm going to just be the fucking guy that tells you if the girl you used to date, if her dad comes out and says, "Hey, you want a motorcycle charger for your motorcycle? I got a motorcycle charger for you." And he brings out a thing that's painted black and has a metal case.
I love those.
Okay. Right? Okay. And he brings you out one of these motherfuckers.
I can plate metal with that.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. And he brings you out a Schumacher or a Harbor Freight. One of these things.
I like my Vector.
It's got a black plastic strap on the top of it they call a handle. It has a metal case which should warn you. I don't like to wrangle any pixies whatsoever in a device that has a metal case.
I mean, I have a metal case charger from like the 70s, and it's awesome.
I was going to say, unless it's part of the Russian space program.
Yeah, no, it'll charge anything.
Here's what I'm going to say about that battery charger.
Right.
That's only to be used by a professional.
Now, here's why. Because if you go to Harbor Freight and you buy the $39, $29, $15.99 with a coupon and get a free multimeter and a flashlight, if you go to Harbor Freight and you buy one of these sons of bitches.
Chicago Electric.
Chicago Tool, right, exactly. They're all just replicas of this particular motherfucker. And one of the worst things that they ever did,
I either charge them or I kill them,
is on the packaging material of this bitch, they put a picture of a motorcycle. Uh-oh. Because it's a universal, and they keep using the word universal. And what I'm going to assure you is this. The circuitry inside of this thing that shuts it off so it doesn't burn your garage down when it's hooked to your Ford Taurus
doesn't exist.
Does not acknowledge a motorcycle battery.
No, I mean those old a lot of those are just like there's no circuitry. It's just either 6 volt. It depends on what amp, how many volts and how many amps you want to charge at, and it continues to do that. And even though the charge needle goes all the way up and shows you that it's fully charged, it didn't stop charging. It's still charging.
And
I have one of those ancient metal cases.
Yeah.
It's even got a jump start setting.
Yep.
Has an analog.
55 amp.
Has an
Put it on
analog
55 amp.
timer on it, so you can set it for.
Put it on 55 amp start, and it's going to give it 55
this
amps.
This is the one
forever.
that KROMKE's got. So KROMKE's got this one with the knob on it.
That's better when they actually have the winder timer on it.
Yeah, something. Yeah. So
Mine is 2 knobs.
2 knobs. Hey, come in Tokyo,
Germany.
So here's why I bring this to your attention. Because in the interest of modernizing these pieces of shit, China decided to make a circuit. And that the circuit that they put in to keep you from burning your garage down is the dumbest fucking circuit that I've ever seen in an electric vehicle.
Well, it does have a thermal overload. So, like...
Two items, two safeties. So there's 2 safeties. One safety actually might save you. The other safety is going to cause you to do something stupid that's going to blow your face off. So Yeah, and this is why you might want to pay attention. So if you have one of these devices with the metal cases and the pigtail leads and everything else, and you'll know if you have one because you've seen these before, and for the vast majority of them, they're fucking black, okay? Now...
They are all the same.
They're all the same.
It's like cake batter, isn't it, Oscar?
It's so fucking good. Sorry.
The coquito.
So the reason I've been pulling these up so you guys could see them is you could kind of get a glimpse of the idea that they're all kind of the same. Okay? So now we're going to talk about how Harbor Freight pulled the wool over your eyes and pretty much everybody. So here's the jam.
Coupons.
Yeah, yeah, always.
All right, coupons. So Harbor Freight did something that I think to this day is probably responsible for more garages being burnt down than anybody should ever admit about. Okay, so let's pull this up because we all know this thing is the fucking devil. We're not up. Okay, here we go. We're up. All right, there we go. Okay, you've all seen this motherfucker.
Yep.
And they sell the not red version of it for $39.99 or $29.99 if you have a coupon. This is the fancy one. So this is the fancy one, and you'll see it's got 50 amperes, 10 amperes, 2 amperes, a switch on it for AGM and regular. Okay? All right? This is Harbor Freight's good quality, the better quality.
I'm like, $54. Jesus.
Top of the line, man.
All right.
Whoa.
Big
There's
spender.
inside of this thing is a MOSFET. Mm-hmm. So there's a MOSFET inside of this thing, and there's this hilarious analog gauge on the front of it, which is a riot, which is actually just a load meter, right? So that's all that's going on there.
Mine stopped working 1 month into ownership.
I was going to say,
years ago.
usually
Really?
they stop working as soon as you plug them in to something that's dead. So somewhere on this device are the words, will not charge, for safety, it will not charge unless it's hooked up to the terminals. That's how you know that you have one of the ones that is truly devious.
What?
Yes. And the idea is it checks for the presence of voltage prior to engaging the transformer. Okay. So if you hook it up to a battery that is either internally shorted, it will not give you power. Which what happens with a lot of old batteries is the plates inside break down and they short out. Sulfation occurs and the batteries short out internally. So at first blush, this is not a problem. If your battery's under 10 volts, though, this is a paperweight. So if John's had your battery, this ain't going to start it. Okay? You can hook this thing to your battery and you can switch it to AGM or you can switch it whatever you want. It's not going to charge your battery.
But you know what I'm going to do.
We know what you're going to do.
Oh, you're going to fuck the battery.
Okay.
Hard.
And here's the reason why we start burning down garages. Because, as John said, in these devices, there is a little tiny overload sensor that is purely a thermistor. It's purely a thermostatic switch in there that says if it gets to a certain point, it burns out internally. And there's usually an internal slow blow fuse in these as well that will go bad.
I mean, even the most stupid one usually has either a slow blow fuse.
Yep.
Like if I just hook the terminals together.
Yep.
It'll amp out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So and then, like some of them are of a fuse that's actually going to blow, but more often it's a thermal switch where it actually has a little heating element, and once it shorts out, it goes boop, and it breaks. It heats up and it breaks the connection.
Yes.
And eventually, I suppose it would come back and try to touch.
It takes,
but it would take forever to cool. And it takes 20. You have to wait about 2 minutes before it cools down. You'll hear it click. It'll go click, and it'll come back on.
Absolutely. Here's why people fuck this up, because they hook it up to their battery, and this thing acts like there's no dialogue. There's no feedback on this thing short of a VU gauge. You know what VU stands for?
Visual units.
Virtually useless. Oh. Okay? So there's a VU gauge on it, and the VU gauge is telling you there's no load coming or going. And you're like, oh, it's broken. It's not broken. It's not detecting enough voltage. There's a voltmeter built into the son of a bitch. And if you're not throwing down at least 10 volts or something like that,
I mean, most of them will try for a split second. You hook it up.
Nanosecond.
It starts to charge. It
test
says,
pulse.
No, way too much load. Click. And it shuts out. It's like,
does a test pulse.
This battery, this is not good. We're not going to try to charge this battery.
Right.
It might not be.
Sometimes if you do that 50 million times, you'll induce enough. That one little zap will be enough to get you from 10 to 10.5 volts.
So you're sparking.
And then it'll take.
So you're sparking your way into reviving enough the battery to fake this. Oh wow!
Dude, well, you can do that.
But then that's where my next go to is take a good battery, hook it up to that battery, get it charging, then take it off, and then it's happy.
Enough to fake the tender to actually go.
That's right, my friend.
You can do that with lipos.
That's when your garage
burns to the ground.
Sketchy as fuck.
It is sketchy, but it works. If a lipo goes down low enough, you can put it on a normal NiCad charge for like 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay.
But if it's not balanced, you're fucked. But
sometimes it'll come up enough to then you
6-volt battery. You can go on a 12-volt battery for
Okay.
about 15 minutes, and you're fine.
So that's the point. And the point is, just because the son of a bitch has a picture of a battery on it or a picture of a motorcycle on it, that induces problems, because when you have one of these that is built in the past 20 years and it says fully automatic charger. Now, if anybody here is an electrical minded person, if you own a multimeter, the two words that you never want to see on your multimeter are auto ranging.
Ooh. That's for fucking rookies, man.
Thank you. That's exactly right. Auto ranging means usually wrong, right? Auto ranging means you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and you're going to hook the amps up where it should be volts, and you're going to burn up this motherfucker. Auto ranging means I'm good at replacing fuses because I've got the leads set wrong half the time.
And auto ranging takes a few seconds enough to fuck yourself over, and then just like waiting for the boop, 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 boop. Oh, you're done.
So when you have one of these battery devices, one of these metal boxes that has a circuit in it that says it's a fully automatic battery charger, the pulse that it's looking at to tell it to stop charging at 10 amps is a pulse that's coming off of a fucking 700 amp hour car battery. And your YTX 12, she don't have that kind of pulse. So the Harbor Freight charger will go into murder mode. And it'll run right past everything your little 12 amp hour or your little 12 amp hour battery can take. And because the Harbor Freight charger thinks it's barely hooked up to a battery at all. And that battery will never get the kind of amp hour load power to shut off the Harbor Freight meter.
Driving that train.
So a guy brings a battery into me this week, and I've never seen a round battery before.
Oh, no. Puffy ones are the
It was a puffy battery, and it smelled bad. And
it was
the negative terminal, the anode and the cathode were just jumping out of the case.
Oh, geez.
And the guy brought it in, and he goes, I bought this battery from you guys last year, and I think you have to give me a new one. And I went, one, I'm taking a picture of that motherfucker. Yeah. And
here's
two,
a hat.
And
go
two,
fuck it.
And two, I'd like to introduce you to my warm fuzzy hat selection, right? Because we are not buying you a fucking battery, right? Because you straight up murdered that one.
I almost did that. I bought a battery for the America, did what it said, put in the electrolyte, hooked it up on the setting it said. We went out to breakfast and came home.
Yep.
It was bulged out and so hot you could barely pick it up.
Really?
Okay.
Huh.
My friend?
Battery's still in the bike and still working.
Wow.
So, we're going to have a pop quiz. The quiz is, for our podcast participants only, if you have an AGM battery, red, white, and blue box says UAZR Parts Unlimited on the side. It has a container of electrolyte. It has a battery.
Okay.
You flip the container of electrolyte over. You smoosh it down.
Stabby, stabby.
And it very slowly drains into the cells. If it's a Chinese battery, you may have to punch holes in it to help it along, in which case it may spill acid all over your floor. Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
But if it's a better quality battery, it'll probably drain down the way it's supposed to. Fair enough. We're all on the same sheet of music?
Yep.
Okay, great.
So you hook the charger up while it's dropping the acid.
Right.
Next question. So the next question is, from the time that the electrolytic container...
Grab the bike.
From the time that the electrolytic container is empty.
Okay.
Empty.
It's almost fully charged.
So from the time it's
Squish
empty,
the damn thing, yeah.
how long must you wait before you impart a charge on that battery? Anyone?
It says within an hour. It says wait an hour in the instructions.
Anyone else?
Maybe I missed that.
I know you missed it. I know you missed it because you did exactly why they printed it on all the flaps. So all the flaps of the box have pictures of a clock, which children don't understand as a clock
reads all
anymore.
that boogity.
So it does say, so at every battery in the world, it says, so to open the box for the battery, you have a picture of a clock, and it says, inject the acid into the battery case and then wait 1 hour. Christian hour. Right? Right. And
1 hour later.
For children, right? For children, it should have a digital thing, but it has the picture of a traditional clock, an analog clock. But if you don't wait, here's why Dan had a problem. AGM stands for absorbed glass matte. Useless until it gets into my body. It's only good. It's only good for looking at. Yeah. And if I put this in my body, but then something happens and I take it out of my body again very quickly, I've achieved no benefit of this liquor.
Right. Depends on how many of those you have.
Exactly. Yeah. But my friend, if you let this liquor absorb into my system, I achieve its full benefit.
Right.
Well, if you start putting a 12.5 volt or 13 volt or 14 volt charge at said battery before that acid, that what's the good for it? The good word for it? Yeah. The good word for it is not acid. We're not allowed to call it any. We call it electrolytes.
Electrolytes.
Right. Yeah. It's got electrolytes. Yeah. Plants love it. And it's, if you put that in your battery and you don't let it absorb, you're throwing voltage and amperage at something that has not yet a battery. Yeah. So the byproduct of that is what they call heat. And heat will change the shape of plastic pretty effectively. And like you found out.
Because it's not fully absorbed the liquid.
Back down and fit in the little space it goes in.
Because I've had ones where I couldn't get the battery out of the bike. So a guy comes in and goes, I was like, I put a brand new battery in. I was like, yeah, cool. Did you put the acid in it? Yeah, I put the acid in it. Cool. Did you charge it? No, I'm going to charge the shit out of that motherfucker. Okay. Okay. Or more accurately, did you put the acid in it? Put the acid in it. Great. Did you charge it? No, I fired that bitch up and rode it to work. Yeah, you didn't give it any time, man. You put the battery in. John and I know from the time the battery electrolyte hits the plates, you got about 30% power.
So here's a weird...
If the customer's standing there looking at you, tapping their foot, that bitch will start.
So this is a weird example of this.
Yeah. Sigma says, I think, come pre-charged, pre-filled, ready to rip.
So I'm a big Stephen King fanatic. The Green Mile. So there's a scene in the whole movie and the book.
I'm tired, boss.
Where, I know. It's fucking a teardropper. But when he's in the chair.
Or a panty dropper, depending on what
they
kind of
don't wet the sponge.
Right.
Pretty much the same thing.
It's designed to be extra torturous because they remove the conduit.
Right. And it's supposed to get the current into his brain and then just zap him. He's out. They don't wet the sponge.
Nope. It's an insulator. Becomes an insulator.
So it just heat and it just burns the damn thing.
Burns the sponge,
Doesn't kill the guy.
Doesn't kill the guy. Yep.
Weird analogy, but that's kind of the same,
exactly
the same concept. Right. So you're burning the damn thing and not getting the current into the whole system.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah.
No chargey charge.
No chargey charge. This just popped up.
But I ain't got time.
I ain't got time for all that shit.
I'm kind of top boss.
But here's the funny thing. You know YouTube's broken when somebody tests the Harbor Freight battery charger using the free Harbor Freight multimeter. In case you didn't know that this was Ouroboros and this was a snake eating its own tail, if you fucking...
That's too meta, man.
If you test a Harbor Freight charger with a Harbor Freight meter, you go back in time. I've never paid for a Harbor Freight multimeter.
No, you can't.
Because they don't do it anymore.
They give away.
They do?
Oh, yeah.
I think I got 20 of these things roaming around. And all they are is good for is killing 9-volt batteries. Yeah. But if you get them for free, there's a bullshit 9-volt battery in there that will work a little while.
Yeah.
But no joking around.
You can punk on those all you want. But I'll put those right up against your high dollar, whatever you want. your fluke. I got flukes, and I mean, like...
I tested my Klein against my bullshit one I have over there, my Harbor Freight freebie.
Yeah.
And I tested my Klein against it. And the Harbor Freight was dead on balls.
I mean, it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Free.
It
right?
is free.
And it was free.
And if that's what keeps your average... if you have one, at least you have one of those.
Oh, the difference between a Harbor Freight multimeter and not having a multimeter?
Fuck.
It's the whole world. Yeah.
Learn how to use the ohms, and you'll...
Oh, yeah. If you learn how to use the ohms, like... Honestly, if you can read the tag that's on the back of most shit you buy, you've got half of it licked, right? What are you doing over there? Fucking weirdos.
You know what he's doing.
Once you get past the smell...
Is he dropping wolf bait over here? Yeah, I know. I fucking tell you, man. That is it. All right, so that's it. That's our only tip. Anybody got anything else?
No.
Sleepy smells.
All right. Yeah, he does. Well, he's a good fucking vegetarian, man.
I know.
Yeah, he's fucking vegetarian.
Fucking vegans, man.
I can tell you that I've got something else. I've been fond of using my one. I have a nice little 20-watt solar panel. And it will, in fact, do a pretty nice job of charging a battery.
Oh, really?
So, like out at the property, the one pickup,
J-Town?
the Ford's still sitting out there.
Yeah.
But totally dead battery. I actually had to. So it was an Amazon purchase. So the lines got cancer in them.
Yep.
Real chintzy. Yeah. So I
Real
took those
garbage.
off and soldered on some new leads with some nice clamps.
Yeah.
And now it's like you just hook it to the battery, flop it on the hood,
Throw it on the dashboard.
come
Good to
back
go.
a couple days, boom, it'll start right up.
Really? Good
Yeah,
job.
it's really a nice thing to have.
And
I mean,
cheap as chips.
I mean, that was $30 for the panel when I bought it.
Right.
How big is it?
It's maximum 18 volts. It'll actually put out 18 volts in full hard sunlight.
Wow.
Damn.
That's pretty good. But that's exactly what you want, though, for keeping a battery healthy when you're not there.
Yeah.
Throw that bitch up on the dashboard and go.
Oh, the garden tractor won't run? Well, I'll throw that on, and next time I come back, boom, starts right up.
Throw a kid on the bitch.
You guys want to hear some mail? Want to hear some mail? All right.
Word.
So, podcast listener Aaron,
Here.
AA Ron.
Aaron.
AA Ron. All right.
Not a
Ron.
female, I'm guessing.
Nope,
Jake,
not at all.
No Jake.
I mean, just one female listener would be kind of nice.
I've seen our stats.
No.
Yeah.
No Jay Quillen.
Not going to happen.
If you-
Negative numbers after last week.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
We
yeah.
need
We're
consent.
gonna be.
Exactly. No shit, man. No. Any female listener we had did not
We
consent.
lost them last week.
Lost them last week. There was like no last week, no consent.
What about like some prison bitches or something like
There's
that?
got to be somebody, right? Look, I looked at our numbers from Buzzsprout last week. We had like 5,800 downloads. Like we had 5,800 fucking downloads last week. That's a lot of fucking downloads in 1 week, man.
Yeah, but we're gonna check it next week.
Not
and it's
one
gonna
female?
Be like,
No female.
Like and subscribe.
can people return a download?
Can they back battle on
I
that
want
bitch?
my time back.
Yeah. Back battle that
Look,
bitch.
man, Buzzsprout might have an HR complaint for us next week. Anyway. All right. Want to hear some mail?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear some mail. Hey, Phil, I was part of the Ewok Village this year at Vintage Days.
Oh, yeah.
We call it a FEMA site.
FEMA number 2.
FEMA number 2. This shit. Look, you don't put anything out you're not willing to have blown away. Mm-hmm. It's mid-Ohio. All right. I showed up with a bottle of Basil Hayden.
I know that guy. We know you buy bottles. Yeah.
I hope you've since disposed of its chastity belt and contents. We have.
Yeah.
I loved the event, and I'll be back next year with more Philly scum.
Oh, that dude. Yeah, I remember that dude.
All right.
Yeah, that dude's all right.
All right. And he brought us a bottle of Basil Hayden.
Even better.
Fucking even better.
Can't
All right.
argue with that.
Can't argue with that. All right. I have
We have for a while.
not one, but
Look at that
two
dude.
unrelated questions for the gang. One. Why did Honda replace the CB350 with the CB360? Don't answer.
Okay.
Why only a 10cc increase? Maybe
question.
I'm missing some other significant differences. Don't answer. Question number 2. The red CB350 that I brought to Vintage Days is going through a very slow restoration. I was wondering what your approach is for polishing aluminum. You're welcome, Emma. I've been using progressively finer sandpaper and polish. Don't answer. Looking forward to the next coming of the Bourbon Fairy.
Fuck yeah.
Do you guys still
I
do
can
the...
make all of your bourbon dreams come true.
2.0.
Do you guys still do the swag for packages for Patreons? Yeah, pony
Fuck
up,
yeah.
bitch. I've been a member since last February. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, he hasn't reminded you yet.
Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and forward this over to Renee and make sure you get a box. I'm sure Renee's going to...
She hasn't filled her box in a while.
She filled her box last week. We sent out... Renee stuffed her box about a dozen times last week. And so, Renee put 12 boxes in the wind last week. So,
you're going to love Renee's box.
Renee's box.
That thing's tight.
Nobody can stuff a box like Renee. When you realize, you'll understand. You'll realize.
Tight like a toiga.
Tight.
Yeah.
Renee's boxes are tight. So no room for daylight in there. She pushes it. Anyway. But it's amazing. She can get a pint glass in there.
Damn.
So she'll get a pint glass.
Wow.
She'll stuff a pint glass in her box, but then put everything else around it to package the pint glass.
Skills for days.
And you know what? You might want to fuck the hat too, because I think there might be a hat in Renee's box.
Well, we'll have to see. Right. Exactly. All right. So question number one.
Question one.
Why did Honda replace the CB350 with a 360? And why was it only a 10cc increase? Anyone?
I can tell you my opinion. I don't know why. I don't see any real good reason with it. It's not just a 10cc. It's a whole different motor.
Right.
It's a whole different carburetor. It's not. Parts are not interchangeable between a CB350 and a 360. Not one.
Not one single part.
The CB360 did have a 6-speed transmission, though.
I was going to ask that. The gearing, did it change?
That's the one thing that, maybe was nicer about the CB360. Some people actually love CB360s and say they have more horsepower, they're a better bike, and they're everything like that. I don't see any reason why they needed to change from the CB350 to the 360 because, no other company, Kawasaki was making a 400 or a 440. Suzuki was making the GS, Chris's bike, a 450 or 426. They didn't really need to go to a 360. They're just really, I don't know. I don't know what the logic was with that.
So maybe it was just slight enough less horsepower that it didn't justify the gearing.
But the CB360 is not a bored out CB350. It's a completely different new motor.
Okay. And wouldn't you say the consensus?
So they must have been, when they built the CB360 motor, they must have made some little changes with everything, this, that, but they must have been planning on selling that bike for another 20 years.
Right.
But it did not sell well enough to sell for 20 years.
To clarify, it's not 10 cc's. It's a lot more.
Well, the original CB350 was 326.
323.
Really?
323.
323.
And then that one is actually 356.
Oh, so there you go.
So it's about 28, 30 cc's more.
That's probably, that makes more sense.
So 33 cc's more.
But it probably has the cam profile. Everything is different about that motor, the car. It's not even, it looks like a CB350, but it's nothing is common with it.
So because, that particular motorcycle, the CB360, it launched in 74. Okay. But remember that in 72, we had the CB350F. F, Sport, four cylinders. 4 carburetors, 4 cylinders. A really good bike, but expensive to fucking build. 4 of everything. Okay? 4 cylinders, 4 carburetors, 4 headers.
I want nothing to do with a V12.
4 mufflers. So for the same number on the side of the gas tank, this motherfucker was very expensive to build.
You know how fast it went? How much faster it went than the CB350 Twin? Not really much at all. I don't think any of them.
No, I've never, and I've had some good ones, and I've had some bad
ones. Sounded good. Rev to 10 grand. They
Yeah.
both rev to 10 grand.
And I had a bunch of them, and I collected those for a while.
But they'll both go just under 100 mile an hour. Maybe the 4 will go a little over 100, 104
Yeah.
So you think maybe it was
on a good day?
Yeah.
it was slightly more efficient on the newer one?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
No?
And so here's the trick.
Although the one guy, the guy Canadian, he's like, I took a CB360 up to 120 mile an hour.
No, you didn't.
Downhill. It was the steepest hill.
Tuck, naked.
Full tuck. And like, I got it up to 120.
No way, baby.
I'm like, I hear you, but
No way.
But you know what?
So
it is a solid 70 mile an hour bike, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great 70 mile an hour
That
bike.
sounds about right.
I've owned a number of.
You know what's an even better one? A CB750.
Yeah.
It's a great 70 mile an hour.
Okay. All right. So, but back to the question. The
Question
question at
number
hand is
2.
very simple.
Yeah, all right.
Why did Honda do a 360? Very simple.
Marketing?
Marketing. So
Bigger number.
Okay.
But
So-
nobody else was making a 350 except Honda.
Oh no, my friend, you're missing one very important bike.
What bike am I missing?
The Suzuki GT380. I know.
That's a whole different ball of wax.
I know. So in the market, in that particular generation of 74, 75, there were certain vehicles that were out.
Yamaha had an XS400. The 400 was more. It should have been. It should have been a CB400.
Okay.
But they already had a CB450. So
Okay. Yeah.
they were already beating the 400 market.
This is not an unreal, this is not a new thing. RD 350 existed and was on the road. Suzuki GT 380 existed and was on the road. Those were both two-strokers.
Right.
There were no shortage of other 350s from other companies. Honda didn't need to do a clean sheet design. In fact, I will argue they fucked up because they did do a clean sheet design.
Right. They should have just bored out the 350.
Exactly.
Right.
What happened, though, we both know that when a CB360 comes in here, fuck you, get that out of here. We're not touching it.
Carbs, yeah.
They had a very bad habit of burning the cam. They didn't get enough lubrication to the top of the motor. So we have a problem with CB360s having unusually advanced cam wear and blue cams, you know? So they burned up their own fucking cams. The other thing was the 6-speed really didn't make any difference about it because these motorcycles only make power when you're spinning them at 7,000 RPM.
And 6th gear is 1-to-1, just like 5th gear was 1-to-1.
Exactly. So our 5th gear and our 6th gear were both 1-to-1. The 6th gear in the CB360 wasn't really a real overdrive. It was just another gear in a 5-gear stack.
Now, granted, you could drop from 6 to 5 going up a hill.
Yep.
And it wouldn't be as much of a 5th to 4th jump, you know what I mean? But
I will argue.
But on a Honda, who cares? You could you could go from 5 to 3 up a hill and just scream the nuts off of it.
74 to 76. Honda just did not want to bring out another bike with the number 350 on the side of it. They had done the CL350. They had done the SL350 and they'd done the CB350.
They had to change it up.
They had fucking owned the 350 market to the point where their competitors
and the 450 market for
years. The point that they're
and then they came out with one of your favorite bikes,
CB400F, a crown jewel
in between us.
Yeah.
So you got a CB400F,
and that was in 75.
So why do you need a CB360?
That's the point.
Not at all.
Not at all. And I think that what happened is they said, we're going to come up with a bike that uses advanced manufacturing processes to make the bike cheaper to build. It's going to have a 6-speed, so it's going to trump everybody on the whole I've got a 6-speed thing because they believed that
Except I think the Kawasaki 400 and 440s have a 6-speed.
400 does, for sure.
And maybe the XS, I don't think the XS.
The XS did not.
That's what I was thinking on the 350, that maybe there was a newer upgrade that they can bore out or change the size of the piston to be able to utilize for the 400 or the next level.
Like I said before,
forward.
when they built that bike, they thought, well, we've sold this CB350 for so many years, and it's been a great seller.
Yeah.
This is going to be the Gen 2 CB350, and we're going to make all these little changes that make it an even better bike, and people are going to love it and buy it for another 20 years, but it just didn't happen.
That's exactly right. And I really feel like, being that I was a kid in that era and I watched the bikes come out and I was a major fan of these machines, the people who were buying based on, I want to go fast,
well,
with no money, they were buying the Suzuki GT380 because it was 3 cylinders and it was a 2-stroke and it would rip your fucking arms off. Whereas a CB350 was just like
But
a
I wonder
good
what
normal bike.
I wonder what the price difference was between that and a CB500 and a CB550 and a CB750.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, you know, it got to the point where that the twins were nice through the end of the 60s and into the beginning of the 70s.
Right.
But once you dropped a bike like the CB750 and then subsequently the CB500 and 550 and a CB400,
right.
Now it's fours. It's like, and they were probably getting fours for just a little bit more money, and it was such a better bike.
But in 1975, if you wanted to go fast in that super cheap newspaper route money thing, you bought an RD. Because all the guys winning races were on RDs.
RD 400?
An RD 350. So that was 74, 75. You were on an RD 350. And you know what? It was fucking reed valve. It was fast as snot.
Dude, they were surprised.
Wheelies all day
They were
long.
remarkably reliable.
I traded my cow print.
They're remarkably reliable up to the first 15,000 miles.
Yeah.
No,
which is fine.
And
Which
then
is
you gotta
fine.
You got to rebuild it. But I traded this three-wheeler for an RD 350 that, and, you know, back then I was going to turn into a cafe racer, obviously. And, but dude, I couldn't believe how fucking fat. Like, it didn't do shit off the line unless you dropped it at like $9,000. And that, but it was like,
But I'm going to say,
unbelievable bike.
if you don't think that Honda was saying the only way we're going to beat the RD is with a number that's bigger than 350.
That's so weird.
And Yamaha came back and went 400, bitch.
Yeah.
Right? On a bike that weighed the exact same.
Yeah.
So I think that what happened was exactly what. It's just marketing, man. It's just marketing.
But think about it. Yamaha had
They really
so
just
much
should have
easier.
deleted that and spent more time on the 450.
Right.
Agreed.
But think
Absolutely
about Yamaha.
agreed.
All they did was bring a top. Like, nothing changed but the head.
I know.
So like Yamaha
know
was
why?
like, it took them like 3 days to go, ha ha. Like, you know.
Well, that's what happens, man.
I know.
The motorcycle industry is all about that bullshit.
Yeah.
The motorcycle industry is, why was Honda CB350 called a CB350 when it was only a 323? Why did they call it a 325? Marketing department.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
What sounds bigger?
All it is. It's a bigger
350?
number.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So if your competitors all have 305s and 300s, you can do a 350.
Right.
And then your competitor goes 380.
Right.
I'll see you. Right? So that's really what it was. Okay, so back to our podcast listener and why he's...
Question number 2.
Yeah, question number 2. So, one, CB360s, despite the 6-speed gearbox, we can tell you here at the shop, nothing but trouble. It is not like, this is so much better than a CB350. It's not. Get the CB350. One, there's a billion parts for a CB350. There's 3 parts left for a CB360 on planet Earth, and you're fighting over them. Just like if you buy a CB350F 4-cylinder, if you want a carb for that thing, you got to fight Steve Hoffert. Right? It's so true. Okay, he brought a red CB350 to Vintage Days.
Yep.
It's going through a very slow restoration.
I remember he was working on it. He had some problems, wouldn't start. I think we worked through that.
We did work. You worked through that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what he asked about is aluminum. And I'm certain what you're talking about is your cases and your fork legs. And he says, I've been using progressively finer sandpaper and polish. Yeah. Congratulations, my friend. You are there. Once you get it looking shiny, and you've gone through buffing wheel, all the way to shiny.
Well, he's not at buffing. Well, he's still on sandpaper.
Well, he's obviously retarded.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, if he wants to, if he's really going that hard, yeah, you're going to want to go up through, you know, start at 600 grit, then 800, then 1,000.
I always use, first of all, a lot of Honda
wet.
stuff has a coating on it.
It does.
So I used to like to use the like 1 gallon pal of carburetor cleaner. And I would paint it on, and it would help take off that little clearing. He's probably through that.
So the lacquer varnish.
Yeah.
The lacquer
gone.
varnish is,
gone.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're looking at my CB160 over there, which has 95% of its lacquer varnish still on it, it's probably gone. So the lacquer varnish is all gone.
But you probably got, but I like steel wool.
Steel wool's the fucking bomb, right?
Steel wool impregnated with blue chloral chrome cleaner.
Even if you want to use
amazing.
Simichrome polish or Brasso or whatever you want to use, it all works fine. And you use 3/0 or 4/0 steel wool. You can get it at the hardware stores and stuff like that. It works really good job. But here's the thing. Once you've rubbed your fingerprints off your fingers, once you smell like shit, and once all the oxidation from the whole planet is now impregnated into your skin, and your fingertips are going to be black and smooth for the rest of time. You're going to be looking at these. Yep. These are going to be looking at these beautifully shiny fork legs. And when you're looking at these beautifully shiny fork legs, take a picture. Because that shit's over in about a day.
Yeah.
Mother Nature has her way with that shit. Instantato.
Oxidation is a bitch, son.
So, 1, wipe it down immediately. Wipe it down with like the hottest isopropyl alcohol that you can buy, or old school brake parts cleaner. If you can't remember numbers, you've used the right stuff.
Basil Hayden.
Basil Hayden's is a good idea. At least, let's use something up in the Stroh category. Yeah, Malort. Yeah. Anything around 180 proof, you're good. But the idea is, once you do that, instantaneously use an acrylic clear.
Yeah.
And shoot it with an acrylic clear before the 90% denatured alcohol even flashes off.
Because you're getting all the water out of...
My experience with every set of fucking fork legs I've ever done has been, if I polish them to a high mirror finish on a 900 to 900, 1200 RPM wheel and use all the rouge and work my way through the system and really do the job right, if I clear them with a really good quality clear, an acrylic clear, that they'll look pretty nice for about 2 years. And then any bug hit or microscopic pinprick of a road grime or grip will get under there, and then that clear will start lifting off, and it'll look pockmarked, and then you'll have to do it again.
And also check, because like I was always like, oh, I'm going to redo these forks on this bike, and you look and you're like, wait, that's actually paint. It didn't come polished from the factory.
Yes, Steven, you're right.
Yeah.
Argent silver.
Argent silver is the secret. Boy, that shit is worth 26 man hours.
Yep.
Talk to an old mechanic or an old shop or the guy that works on Volkswagens or just
Germans.
Is it Germans?
I remember I sat out there for like hours, sandblasting my Volvo wheels, and I'm like, they look like shit. I'm like, how am I going to polish these? And I'm like, and then I was looking, and they're like, no, they're painted.
Yeah.
So I went and taped them off and painted them. I'm like, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
So, nice.
Here's the second tip from Cleveland Moto today that's going to save you money and time. Get yourself a can of Wirth, spelled V-U-R-T-H.
So it's Wirth.
Wirth. It has an umlaut. It has an umlaut.
Wirth.
Buy yourself a can of Wirth silver wheel paint. It is also known as Argent Silver. If you buy this shit, this is the color that Volkswagen, Honda have an addiction to this shit.
And then if you want to make it impervious to bugs and stuff, go to Eastman or any place that has a 2K clear. Don't
2K
fuck
clear.
around and get anything else.
Do not.
Make sure it's 2K.
Get a 2K clear.
You want to start with a fucking dusting spray just to give it some tooth.
Just walk past it. Literally, walk past the part with the can and go, and then fucking go have a cigarette.
15 minutes. Let it flash. And your second coat, go a little heavier. Let it flash for 15. And then whatever you got left in the can. Well, I mean, if you're doing small parts, then whatever. But give it a third. I call it a flood coat, but be careful. Don't let it run.
Right.
That's Argent Silver.
Just small.
That's my old bike.
Yeah,
Pass it around.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my CB160.
Oh, yeah.
That I painted the front end and everything and did a little restoration and then painted the lowers with the Argent Silver.
Argent Silver will save you so much time. Now, pro gamer move. If you are using Argent Silver on something like your engine cases that has a high degree of porosity.
Honda, that's actually an Arctic Silver.
It is an Arctic Silver.
I've heard that.
So here's the trick. Tip from your Unkie Phil. If you walnut blast or power wash or chemically clean your engine cases for your Honda motorcycle, they're going to look good for like 11 minutes. But then a bird's going to fart or a bug's going to die or something's going to happen and a molecule of something is going to hit those cases and it's going to go into the little pits on the cases and you're fucked forever.
Yeah.
So here's the trick. Get yourself one of those cheesecloths and spray paint your engine cases. Clean them good. Clean them good with carb parts cleaner, engine cleaner, degreaser, whatever you want to use. Right. Clean it. I don't care how biologically friendly you are, simple green or carb parts cleaner or brake parts cleaner. I don't care. You know, just whether or not you want to do math. Okay. For the rest of your life. So once you do this and you clean them, then you fog it with Argent Silver Worth. And then you take the cheesecloth and you wipe the paint off. The paint goes into the pores and fills them.
And seals it up.
And seals it up. And you've wiped the obvious paint on the outside so it doesn't look like you're some cheap-ass fucking dick face that painted your motor. Because we all know those guys, and fuck those guys.
Yep.
So the guys that paint their motors, they look like fucking trailer park trash. But the motor then won't look like you painted it. It'll look like it's just aluminum. But shit can't get into the pores of the aluminum because it's all full of Worth Argent Silver right now. And it does a beautiful job. So you spray it on, and while it's still wet, you wipe it off. And then nothing will stain those cases.
Right. Temperature-wise, it's able to handle that, though?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because this shit, look, if it said Krylon on it, I'd say no.
Well, think about
but
how
it says
wheels
Worth
get.
on it.
And a wheel gets hot as fuck, dude. You ever in the summer you're braking and
Did
stuff?
I mention the Germans?
Yeah. But here's the thing too. So if you're looking at your chrome or your thing and you're thinking, well, I don't know if I want to paint it or not.
Yeah.
I learned this a while ago. Actually, at Mid-Ohio, I was talking to one of these old restoring dudes, and like he said, maybe a lot of people knew this. I didn't. But he was like, get yourself brass wool.
Brass wool.
Not steel wool.
Well, the good thing about that is what it does is it doesn't deposit iron into the divots.
Right.
Which is then going to turn to iron oxide.
Bingo.
And rust.
And also I like the steel or the brass wool on chrome especially.
It's softer.
And when you look at chrome and you see it's all rusted up, it's really not that bad. There's tiny pits and the rust blooms on top of the chrome.
Right.
Yep.
But you can 9 times out of 10 take that off and it'll reduce it. It'll look really nice.
It'll bring it at least 50% back from the dead. And the cool part is the brass is softer.
I've spent a long time on exhaust pipes and I've made them look fantastic.
Yeah, and it's softer than chrome. It's softer than most metals. It's softer.
And you can use it on glass.
Yes, glass. I'm about to say that.
So if you have overspray on your glass parts, turn signal lenses and shit like that, you can use brass wool on it and it won't fog them out.
Right.
But they always say that you shouldn't use carb cleaner
Right.
on your case.
No.
Because if you at some point you need to do any welding, you're fucked.
Yes.
So that's the thing. Just keep an eye on.
The whole rule is don't put anything that's a petroleum distillate
Chemical. Yeah.
into any porous metal that you might someday want to TIG weld.
Right.
Why? Because TIG welding goes to shit if you have metal that's impregnated with.
So just keep that in mind if you're going to do the whole
good
painting
luck.
thing.
I mean, geez,
Right.
I mean,
That's trust me, I've been the guy that I've TIG welded a couple of master cylinders, which are made of pot metal.
It happens. It happens.
And that shit just looked like.
But just keep that in mind. If you go to like the skinny places where it might be a thing, don't go crazy with that.
Well, hopefully you never have to take any cases.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's the big deal.
But it is a thing to keep an eye on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But you don't want to leave anything that'll corrode behind, too. They make stainless steel.
Stainless steel wool. Absolutely. Yep. The brass wool is going to set you back $20 for a pack that will last you a lifetime.
Yeah, I've had the same thing now for 3 years.
Oh yeah, yeah. Right,
that's good.
Mine moved with me. Like I've had that shit so long it moved with me. And then for people who are, if you're a crack aficionado, you can use Choroboy.
Oh yeah,
Choroboy. So if you like the crack cocaine, you probably have some of that hanging around anyway.
Release the Kraken.
Hey, release the crack.
Yeah, make sure you use the copper one.
Yep, the copper one, exactly.
I don't like crack. I just like the mouth feel.
Yeah.
That releases cyanide.
Cyanide gas.
I hate that word.
So everybody else got anything else?
No, can we just say the word mouthfeel? If a company uses the word mouthfeel, I will not fucking buy your product. That's all I'm saying.
No consent?
No.
Oh, you
No
beat me to it.
consent.
How does that feel in your mouth?
Remember, kids, it's all about the consent.
It's all about consent.
Couldn't feel anything.
Yep. Oh, man. Anybody else got anything else? No. That's been a fucking podcast. That's podcast number 403. And ride fast and take chances. John, play us out of here.
Bum, 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 bum,
Take chances! Take chances! Ride fast, take chances! Run fast and kids, run fast and